I mean, just so what we want everyone to do, so I'll just kind of walk through the basics of an intro here and then we'll go over the coins, right? So first things first, obviously everybody knows, you go over here to Academy, there's a little drop down arrow, click it down. We have announcements, right? In the announcements, that's where I'll post something if there's any changes or something that's new videos that have to be where you guys just basically let me know you're still here and everything like that. You go in there, you can read announcements. Current trade will be videos that we post or something that we're calling out inside the Discord, and then there'll be a video on the results afterwards so that way you can see what happened. Academy chat. Now this is where I can't hear you, Oz, but this is where you can this is where you want to post as a new person to stay into it, and also this allows us to check the trades that you're doing. And there's other little things here. Day one. This is where you'll start, watch all your videos, recordings you can go to. If any conversations or anything that we covered, you can go in there and take a look at recordings and see if something is something that you've asked and frequently asked questions. Moon alerts. Okay, so like this is basically where you can use it to find coins and stuff like that. So let's say if you're jumping onto Discord and you're like, all right, I need to find something, right? If you go to Moon Alerts, you can see in here, this also has not only moons, but this also has RSIs. So this tells you when Phantom is oversold, right? So today at 11:14, we've seen Phantom had a 2-hour RSI oversold, right? So if you're just hopping on, like let me jump to current situations, right? So I can see here that it's telling me that a render has a 4-hour oversold, right? Meaning it's been at the top and Phantom now has a 4-hour, right? So when you guys are looking for coins, this is why we have the alerts, right? So you can come in here, there's H bars on here, ones on here, renders on here, oceans on here, Doge, Anchor, Phantom, H bar, Gala, so all these coins are in here already. That gives you an opportunity. XRP, ARB, Matic, CFX, Lena. Right, so Solana was on here yesterday. So this is where you want to go look and to find coins, right? The other thing that you can do to find coins once you've gone through your videos and you're ready to see about calling out a coin, right? Second step is go to a website called CoinMarketCap, right? And in CoinMarketCap, as soon as you pull it up, there's a thing. It has the price, 1 hour, 24 hour, and 7-day percentages, right? So normally what we want to look for is something basic, something that's been moving in the last 24 hours, right? So you take a look at the 24 hours, and you can see here the percentages that are in there. So you guys, let me share my screen in the Discord because you guys can't see that right now, right? All right, so I'm gonna record this for you. All right, you guys see my screen now?
Nope.
Should be able to see it in Discord.
Oh, that's better. That's right.
Let me know when you can see it. And this video will be on I'm going to post this in a minute. I'm just going to go a quick 10-minute walkthrough of the basics, right? So as a new person, you always start off, go to your Academy, make sure that you have your Academy arrow drop down, and you should start off with Volume is King video. Now that's going to be a breakdown of what we're looking for, how the different types of trades, and we'll make a little more videos on that, breaking down what's called a B trade area and an A trade area, right? B trades are where volume is beginning the trend change and there's a lot of fluctuating, and A trades are where the volume is down enough that you don't have to worry about super spikes or more accurate trades, more winning trades, and we'll go over a system for that. But once you watch Volume is King, you go to day one. Day one is your videos of how to set up your indicators, the basic ones. You'll see ones on my chart that are a little bit different, and Alf will be the guy once we get you all set up. We do one-on-ones. If we're upgrading you to the new indicators, the VC Crypto Nation ones, then we'll upgrade that and you'll see the difference. And then recordings is where anytime we do a chat like this one, this will be in there so you can find it. All right, so now once you have your video set up, Volume is King, you understand what we're doing. Now your job as a new person or person in the system is to be part of the community, right? So the big thing is always like people say, well, how do I find coins, right? And really it just comes down to what's pumping or what's dumped a lot, right? So there's longs and shorts. I prefer the shorts, but they're all the same whether they go, you just reverse the system. So let's focus on shorts, right? So the basics. So as a new person, right, you have the Academy chat where you want to post things that are happening. And what's happening on there. So you can see on here, guys will be talking about coins that are coming up to where something like basic posting would be 2 hour topped, 4 hour topped on render, etc., etc., right? So how to find out what's happening in there is basically if you want to post things, so you can stop in here, you can see what's going on here to get some ideals, but you also want to be, you don't want to be always looking on here. You want to be the guy that's finding things as well. You want to, you know, participate. So we have a thing called moon alerts. Now, I think I should just change this to coin alerts, and I'll do that right now. And we'll just get that set up correctly right now. So this will be coin alerts. And this will be the folder that you want to go to basically find coins. All right, so coin alerts. All right, there we go, coin alerts. So this will be where you can go in here and you can look for coins, right? So when you click on here, there are different styles of what's happening, right? We have moon alerts. So we have a H-bar 2 hour red moon. We have a 1 hour, 2 hour red RSI. So the RSI and the moons are both in coin alerts. And this just give you ideas to go take a peek at what's happening out there. So kind of the way it's set up. So, and the other thing that you can do is go to a thing called coinmarketcap.com and you take a look at the 24 hours and you can see here that what we're looking at is big movements, right? So let's scroll through here. Here's a 3% move on Toin, 250. Here's a 4% on LDO. Now we want something, you know, a little bit bigger. But here's XDC 4%. Here's Rune Coin 5%. So we want something around the 4, 5 and up. All right, so Rune's at 5. Here's Sue at 6, going to 6. That's what we want to see. So there's 2 coins, and you want to keep yourself a notepad, guys, on the side. You want to do 2 things here. One is that you're doing the 7 trade challenge, right? You have to win 7 trades in a row, meaning that you enter a trade, you set your profits for 50% and your stop loss at your 30%, and you win a trade when it hits the profits. And if you win 7 trades in a row, it's how you increase your bag. So if you're starting off new, you know, you should be doing about $10 if you've never traded before, and learning how to just use MEXC and how to get in and out and set trades, because it costs to do a trade. So you don't want to be paying 30% on a trade and not be making, or 20% of your $10 and not know what you're, you know, really doing. You don't want to be putting $100 up when you're learning how to trade. You want to put $10 and you want to learn how to build that into profits and then use profits to make more money. So start with $10 and kind of go through your thing. So every time you win 7 trades in a row, right, you track them, what trades you did that you won. 7 in a row, you go from 10, you double your money bag, your trading bag, from 10 to 20, right? So here's Luna Classic, 6%. Here's Pepe, 22%. I don't do meme coins, so that wouldn't really matter, but that's poop out there. But here you go. NFT's up 5%. Woo's up 6%. Oh, look at Bone. Bone's up 20%. Bone Swap. I tell you what, guys, I mean, I'm a big Shiba fan, so as a moon bag option, I definitely like Bone. So every time Bone has a bad day, I would be stacking this here because Shiba Inu's not going anywhere. Just kind of heads up. Here's Aster, 5%. So this just kind of gives you an idea what's going on out there. You can go up to the first 2 pages to get an ideal. And here's AKT. And then you can always check whether or not this is in your MEXC. I'm not really sure. And how you do that is you just go to your MEXC. You want to make sure that it's actually tradable. So go to your futures, and this coin is AKT. Never really heard of it. Oh, look at that. That's crazy. AKT. Looks like MEXC was down for a while. AKT. Let's see if this is even in here. So then you want to check if you can even trade the coin, right? So yeah, that's right. You want to make sure you can even trade it. So AKT is not on there. So not a tradable coin. Which one's this? SFP. Oh, this is actually tradable. SFP. $0.53. So this is actually a tradable coin. So this is something you might want to throw inside your book, right? And just so you know, so keep a page of coins on MEXC. So you would put SFP in there, right? Note, or put it on your computer. SFP. So there we go. So there's a coin that's up 30%, which should be coming down. And now we take a look at that. That's a pretty high coin. Here's helium down 9%. Look at SEI, right? So you look for SEI. And what you're looking for are these bigger margins, like 15, 20%, crazy things like that. Let's see. What is it? SEI. Oh, that's in here too. Alright, so SEI is in here. There's another coin that's in here. This coin is down 16%. SEI. So then you just make a note of like these coins that you're coming across as you're researching. SEI. So that way you don't have to go back. You can just go type them in and see what they're doing, right? So once you have that there set up, these are how you can find coins. So let's take a look at this SFP, because that is up a ton. That's up a shitload actually. So let's take a look at the chart. So now that you have your coin that you want to look at, right? Go to your trading view. And we're looking up SFP. SFP. So SFP USDT.P. And let's see, it's on MEXC. Let's take a look. And now you have a coin that you're looking at, right? So there's a very, very nice coin. This has a huge momentum in it, right? And it doesn't look, it looks like it's coming towards, it's starting to drop right now. See the 4 hour. So this would be a post where you would take a quick look at your 2 hour. Look at your 2 hour right there. What you need is a 1 hour moon to certify a short, which you have. So now you would go over here and you would put inside of the chat, right? So this is what your job to do as part of the community, and so that we know what you're doing out there. So SFP. So you'd come over here and you'd put a $sign, SFP. You would put a 1 hour red moon, 2 hour south, 4 hour bending, short option, right? And then you would just click. Now, everyone else who's never seen a coin before will go here, and this is where you take your skill level and what you're supposed to be looking for, and you would find your coin, and if you've seen anything in there like that, you would click on there, and your job is to do what? see where the 4 hour is. All right, jump to the 4 hour. Notice here, we have a 4 hour bending. All right, we can see right there, the 4 hour volume is starting to change right here. Right, that's the beginning of what we're looking for. We're looking for the bend or the crossover, which is probably going to come somewhere in here. But you can see here I have a 3-minute red, 5-minute red, 15-minute, 30-minute red. So this looks like it's pretty much getting very weak. So I jump to my 2 hour. What do I see? I see my 2 hour already crossed. So I want to get my 2 hour cross right there in. And you guys know, if you watch me do my charts, my 2 hour is yellow. I slide to my 1 hour, and boom, my 1 hour moon's in there. I can see my 1 hour crossed here. I can slide that across. My 1 hour is always white. So now I know that I'm in a short pattern here. And if I'm looking for my volume is king moment, obviously you guys know that, if you understand what I'm saying there, that the volume has crossed that threshold, and this is a full out short. So this, I would be taking a short here. And how I would do my short, everything's going down. I slide to my 30-minute. That's already at the bottom. I go to my 15. I take a peek. 15's at the bottom. So I'd let my 15 bounce here, and I would be looking to grab a short when the lower time frame. See, this is more of an A trade here, because this trade has already had 2 pullbacks right here. This is the second part of this pullback area. So I would probably start entering this trade once the 3-minute hit the top, which it did, and starts to come down, right? And the reason why is because I have a 1 hour red moon, I have a 30-minute red moon, and I would enter on the 15-minute red moon, which happened here, which means I would have been in the short somewhere up here. But yeah, that's your job. I mean, I'm not going to go through those systems. Go watch the videos. It'll break it down for you. So this trade, let's say we had an entry point here, 53.92, and then we'll go from there. But I would actually be shorting this trade right here. But your job is to just post it in the Discord. Everybody can see it now as they look around. Here's an option, right? The other options are to slide into, if you don't know, if you're not looking around or didn't check that, you can do a quick coin alerts. And on here you have Phantom as a 4 hour RSI oversold, right? So let's slide over to Trading View. And hey, baby. And let's go to Phantom. If you guys don't know, you just basically take out anything past USDT and then put what you need in there. All right, so here we go. Phantom. Now this told me that Phantom had, take a look here. This is 552. So this just popped up. So Phantom is oversold, right? Which means oversold means the 4 RSI is at the bottom. So this one's telling us that this is getting ready to go through a bounce. So this would be a reversal. This would be an upward motion, right? So and then as you can see, the RSI was at the bottom. The 1 hour is starting to break up, but there's no real volume there. So it's not quite a long yet. I'll make some videos for you on that, but I would think that this would push up, and then right at that level there where the 1 hour 15 came up, I would actually re-short this. And I would short this all the way down to the 15 right here, because this would be what we call the last dump, last hoorah to the pullback, and then it'll go up from there. But that's how you find coins, guys. Very simple. That's how you post them. And that's pretty much it, man. And then the cool thing is that when I pop on, I can see here in the Academy chat that you're posting, and then you would post that entering short on so if you enter the short, you'd put entering short on SFP, and then you would put your entry price at 01330, and then you would post, right? And what that allows me to do is that I can then go back and look at your entry, right? So if I'm surfing through here, actually wrong price. SFP is on here, right? This is SEI. Yeah. All right, so make sure you get the right one. So 53.95. Let me correct that. If you guys make a mistake, put the rest thing here. You go here. Let me edit that, edit message. That'd be down there, where's it at? 50, 53.85. There we go. Okay. Symbol not on S. Oh, SFE, my bad. If you make a mistake on there, just go back and SFP, right? SFP, there you go. Sorry. SFP. There you go. That's it, guys. That's pretty much it. And then I go back, I can pull up your entry, I can make a video for you, let you know what you did or didn't do. And that's about it, guys. So that's the entry for the new people, man. I'll run this back again a little bit later. I'll just post this video for everybody. And then I'm going to be pulling up a new video for B trades and A trades, the amounts that you want to enter. Smaller amounts in B trades, heavier amounts for A trades, because A trades are bigger winners, right? So what I mean is if you have a, let's say you have $100 and you're starting off and you're working your way up. First thing you do is just keep your 10 bucks. Every 7 trades you double, right? And when you have the lower money, what you're mastering is entries, right? So once you get that $10 and you double it to 20 and 20 to 40, this is where we're going to go to a new thing where we slide in and say, okay, once you get to the $40 level, right, you're going to do B trades where you enter the $10 trade, right? So keep B trades at $10, profits at 50 like normal, 50%, which would be like $5. And you still count those as your winning trades. When you get to an A trade, that's where you would put in the bigger amount, which would be the $40 bag that you built up. So you're now using B trades with less, A trades with more, right? So B trades would be once you hit a $40. So when you start with 10 bucks, 7 trades in a row. That goes to 20 bucks a bag. 7 trades in a row, 20 becomes 40. Once you hit 40, when you do a B trade, you use $10 of the 40 to get yourself into trades, and that's what you trade with. And on A trades, where the volume is on the 1 hour, once you watch the Volume is King video, and then you would enter all 40 bucks of the trade, and you'd go for your 30, 50% gains and double your bags. And then as you get to 100, you then take your B bag and you would double it from 10 bucks. You would start doing $20 for B trades and $100 on A trades. 7 trades in a row, you double your bags, right? So $200 on A trades, $40 on B trades. And you'd work that process all the way up. And I'm gonna make a video on that for you guys as we come forward. Hey, babe. Jan's is out. You can hear me. So I'm going to make a video on that, guys. How to break down the amount of money that you're going to be using on A trades and B trades, and that's a new video that I'm going to pull up, right? That's about it, guys. That's simple. So we'll cover this video again. I'll make it, but I'll post this one. It should be that simple. And then once you post your information into the Discord, this is where I can look at your trades. I can do videos on your trades and track what you're doing. So I can give you personal videos on what you're doing and what trades you're making and how to get your entries a little better. So I'm going to clean up the educational videos. As you guys seen over the last year, we've got rid of a lot of the full trading videos with patterns and all the extra stuff that you guys really don't need. Watchdog. And that's pretty much it. That'll allow me to help you guys out a lot quicker. And I can make videos of the daily trades that we're making. But that is what you guys need to do. That's how you post on there what you're seeing so that everyone's aware of it. And then when you post on there, when you do your entries, I know where you entered and I can go back. So for instance, if I seen here that VC admin entered at 53.85 and they posted it at 5:45, I can go to my chart and I can pull up my time frame at 5:45 and I can see where you entered here. So 5:45, I can go back here and I can say, all right, here we go, 5:45. So I know that VC admin entered his trade on this candle, which would put his entry in here, 53.85. Right, and then what I can do there is I can kind of evaluate his entry, right? I can look here and go, okay, well, let's take a look and make sure that we got entered, right? So the first thing I want to do is 3 minute. When he entered was a 3 minute RSI at the top. It was bending up, so right here, he was a little bit early. I would have waited, and I would let this 3 minute play out. So I would make a video on this and say, yo, VC, you need to let this 3 minute come up to the top. And once your 3 minute gets to that top, that's the entry you want. Make sure that you're entering with your 3 minute off the 100 line, or at least bending down. You can see here there's a little bit of push that's coming. On top of that, let me look at your 5 minute. You can see here your 5 minute is already coming off the bottom. It's kind of going flat. I would let the 5 minute push up a little bit. And like I said, I'd probably play the 3 minute. Here I got the 15 minute at the bottom. Now the reason why the 15 minute isn't that big of a deal on the bottom for you right now is because your volume is negative on there, which means the push back against you is going to be real light, so you're safe there. This is more of an A trade scenario. If you were in a B trade scenario and your volume was more closer to the 4.5 line over here or positive, I would definitely tell you to wait for the 15 minute to come back up, or at least make its move past the 20 line somewhere around 50 and then reverse. Then I would take that entry point instead of the one that you took. But right now you should be safe because your volume is negative, so you are safe there. Checking the 1 hour volume, you can see here you have a 1 hour moon, so you did well there, and your 1 hour is pushing. Your volume is below the 5 line, so that also protects you from any type of bounces that would happen. But like I said, if this was a B trade and the volume was above the 5 line, I would definitely let the 15 minute come back up before I enter. Just a side note for you, VC. Your 2 hour crossed over, looking good. Your trade is going to come up to a 2 hour red moon, which should give you a nice 50 to 100% gain. Now the other thing that I'd be worried about here, VC, is that you have your green line coming up here on your 4 hour and it's kind of bending, and more importantly the 4 hour volume is giving up there, so you are ahead of the game. But if this was steady going forward, then I'd be cautious on this and it would be more of a B trade, and I would watch and let that 15 minute bounce. But other than that, man, looks like you did a good job, man. Happy trading, man. Have a great day. And I would close out. And VC would be like, thanks for the feedback, bro. You're the greatest, bro. Thanks, man. So far, that's the trade, boys. And that way I can give you feedback on the trades that you're doing and a little notes and stuff like that. For instance, I would say, yo, VC, by the way, you're below the 5 minute 200 moving average, which is great. It's probably might touch back that level right there at 53, 54 in that area. Watch that, but more than likely with all that volume disappearing, you're safe. If that volume was a B trade, I would look for it to actually hit the 200 moving average and then come back down. But everything looks like you're in a good position here. As far as targets go, I would probably be looking for this to target its way out to at least the 30-minute 200 moving average, and that would give you a target amount here of about 80% here, so you should be good for a quick 50%. If it breaks through that, you should be good, but that should be your targets right here. About should be looking for that target zone there, so you have a 50% target there, but you have a little bit of time there because you do have your 30 coming down, but volume is low. So all in all, man, I would just protect that. The only thing I would do different is I would let the 3 minute play out, and once the 3 minute has a red moon, that's where I would enter. So right now it doesn't have a red moon, ladies and gents, and that's the only thing I would be worried about. 3-minute red moon. Once that 3-minute red moon's hit, that would be my entry that I would consider being the best entry. All right, boys and girls, that's how to post your trades, where to put them, put your information. So that's just your quick intro. Make sure you go watch your videos in your Volume is King folder, and then move over to your day one. And then once you're done with all them videos, make sure that you send me a text message or go into, let's see here. Yeah, you guys can just send me a message in there or just post in here done with videos, or text me. And send me a direct message. How to send me a direct message, guys, is when you see me talking on the live Academy chat, just go over my name, VC Admin, right click, go to messages. You'll be able to see it just like if I wanted to send Paul a message, I right click and it says message, right? I'll just send test to you, Paul. Let's see, you actually sent me a message. So send yourself a message right there, send it to me, let me know you're done with your videos, and check back with me. Like, if I don't get back to you in a day, next time you see me pop on, send me another message, or post it in the Academy chat that you're currently done with your videos. How to post a screenshot. So how to post a screenshot, guys, is on your computer. If you slide to the top right here, there's 3 little dots. I don't know if you guys can see it on my screen because I go a little bit. You guys see that little area right there? 3 little dots. Click the 3 little dots, and there's a drop screen, right, where you can go to a new tab, new window. If you slide down, there should be a thing that says web capture, right? So you might want to Google it if you don't see it. All new computers have it. But it's 3 little dots. Click the 3 little dots. You see it, Oz? Hit web capture, click it, and then you can web capture what you want. You just draw the box, and then if you want to mark it up, you click mark, and then three dots. And you can write whatever you want. Hit copy up here, and that's pretty much it. Perfect. All right, let's check out SFP. See how it bounced here to 54? Let's see the little spike there. And this is why we wait for that red moon. But that's also why it's good to have feedback, right? So I can go back, see your trade, see where you entered, and say, hey, 3-minute red moon. How do we enter a trade, right? So who always ask me that? BSG, where you at, BSG? BSG left. So BSG will always ask me, like, when do we enter a trade, right? And the answer is always the same. We enter a trade on a 3-minute red moon, red trend, right? So when we came to this trade, everything lined up and gave us a trade option. And when we looked at this trade, we had a green moon. So it's always a red moon that we enter on. But watch the videos on that, guys, so you get your correct entries. But that's about it, man. That's where you post, so I can see what you're doing, where you're at, and so forth. That way you can get instant feedback, instant information, videos on things that you're doing. And that's pretty much it. So that's where you post, what you want to post, the videos you want to read, how to use the chat. Yeah, anybody have any questions here? This was just an introduction for the new people. Go watch Volume is King. Go watch your entry videos and all that good stuff so you can get in here correctly. But I would watch SFP. Like I said, guys, when you do see the chats here and you see people posting stuff here, possible longs or shorts, remember, they're not telling you that there's a short, they're telling you that it's coming, right? It's your job to go here, follow your steps, and enter correctly, and then post when you enter so that I can go back and see what you did and fix it, right? That's pretty much it. And I'll let this trade play out here, and then we'll go back and we'll cover what this trade would have did. You guys should make some money on this pretty soon. Let's take a look here. So for me, right, as I told VC, you're okay in these little sections here, but I like to see when this 4 hour starts to bend back down fully, which is coming. That's when I would be getting into my trades there. You do have a nice 2 hour pullback here with a 2 hour happening. The volume is really low here, so you should be pretty safe here on this little pump that it did. Like I said, I would enter that 3 minute. And another thing I would do here is, just so if you guys are listening, is that on that 3 minute while I'm waiting for that red moon, right? The one thing I would do here, because the volume and everything is in my direction, is that when I seen this green moon pump this last 3 minute up, I would be looking to get in on these green candles. So on this candle here, this wick, I would be looking to start buying on this section here. So 53.98, 54, this would have been my targets. And those targets, what I was talking about earlier, remember I said more than likely it's going to bounce off the 5 minute, right? So that would be my target area, 54. So I would have had my entries hit here. I would have said 54 is my entries, and I would have hit, and I would hit again. So that would be my end. So I'll make some videos on that, but just so you guys, since I know we're not covering a trade right now, but just an example, since we're looking at a trade, how to be greedy. 5 minute 200 moving average, right? That's why we have the 200 moving average on our indicator, and so that we can use that for targets. You could have had this nice little entry at 54, and believe me, you're going to make a lot of money off that. Easily. Look at that. What's that move right there? 25% entry right there. Boom. It hasn't even started. All right, boys and girls. We'll cover this a little bit later. I'm actually going to take this trade in a little bit. But like I said, always let your 3 minute play out. Just like I told VC to let his 3 minute play out, and then that's when I would take the entry. And just kind of like a pro tip. Oh my God. I'm kind of mad right now. I should be playing this short. But pro tip would have been, look at your 5 minute 200 moving average, set a target for an entry there. You'd be very, very happy. All right, guys, any questions right now? Let me hop off here. I got to finish these other videos and get everything else set up. You guys understand how to post what you're doing, how to post the trade that you're doing so I can make videos and help your entries better, how to use $10 and take 50% profits. And once you get to $40, you then separate B trades by 10 bucks. $40 goes towards A trades. And then when it gets to 100, you raise your B trade bag to 20 bucks, your A trade to 100. That all makes sense, guys? Yes, sir. That all makes sense, guys? You hear me? Anybody can talk, guys. Anybody can talk. XLM. Stella.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, Smokey. What up, baby?
What up, kid?
That makes sense, bro.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's what we're gonna be doing there, and then I'm gonna go finish the rest of these little vids here. I'm probably jumping this SFP trade here in a second. Let's see here. But that allows me to just basically follow your trades, see what where you entered, help you with your entries, give you little tips just to make things a little bit better. And that's about it, man. Give me 1 second.
So,
All right, boys and girls, all sound good, man. Oh my God, look at the SFP trade. You guys who got in that trade? Jesus. Look at that, 50% already. Boom. Good job, boys and girls.
Yeah, I got it that one.
All right, that's simple, boys and girls, man. Post your trade so we can keep up with what you're doing, and we're able to make videos for you. Cooper Blue, what up, Coop? Boogie, yo, Boogie, man, how you doing, bro? You good? You get that SFP trade?
Oh, you know I jumped on that.
Yeah, that thing was juicy right there, bro. How's the volume and king, bro? That help you out?
Oh, your mic's going in and out. Yeah, man, the volume has really sharpened up the last week of my trades. Just being a little hesitant and a little more greedy on watching that volume. When the volume's high, I usually have to cost average buy to stay in a trade, and then I find it and it's right, it's ready to go. But that last hoorah, the volume stops you from getting pinched.
Yeah, now that you saw the volume is king, you're like, oh shit. Hold it.
I know, I made a joke. I was like, I heard you in the video. He's like, he's going to be pissed I didn't give him this 6 months ago. No, it's all good. I love it. And it's, and anybody can do it, you know, and that's the point. I love it.
Yeah, no, I was just basically, because I'm always talking about volume. It just came down to, like, I would always say, all right, here, the volume, right? So it was just a simple thing, like, yo, volume past the 4.5 line on the 15 minute, right? And when I was looking at it, I was like, you know, the problem is they're not really, like, focusing on volume. You know what I mean? They're not realizing the importance of volume, you know? So then that's why I did the volume is king, so that way it's like, all right, the very first thing is volume, you know? Volume makes everything happen. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down to B trades and A trades, right? So we'll be going to, you know, start off the same way with $10. New guys come in, 50% gains, because they got to learn how to get their entries in, right? So 50% gains, 7 trades in a row, you go to 20, 20 to 40. Once you hit 40, you divide your bag up, right? And what I mean by that is $10 is still dedicated to B trades only, and then the entire $40 goes into A trades, right? So safer trades, more money. B trades are tougher. You learn to grind them out still. You stay in that grind mentality, but you're only trading with $10. And then when 40, you do 7 trades in a row, then you turn 40 into 80, right? And then that's when you up it up to where you can take your $10 and now make it $20 for B trades. And the full bag, the 80 is for the A trades. And then when you hit your 160, you double up both bags again. So the 160 is on the A, the 40 is on the B's, right? So that way you're learning how to grind out the B trades, right? And the reason why is I'm going to make a whole video on this is because it's compounding, which is the king of everything, right? Which is what we love to have, right? So if you think about it and say, okay, so, you know, I grind this out, I'm sitting on let's just say an average of, most of the guys now work them way up to $500 bags. And you take $100 of the $500 bag, and that's your B trade, right? And if you take the B trade and you work in there and you execute a 30% gain and you just chisel away, right? So you make one trade, 30%, you're like, all right, here's $30, cool. And then you can wait for the trade to happen. You're playing the 15 minutes, right? You're learning how to use the 15 minutes. Another 15-minute trade happens, boom, another $30, right? You go back again, and this might happen 4, 5, maybe even 7 times before the A trade even really comes around. And you're looking at that going, okay, so I just took $30 and I made an extra 100 minimum, right? Sometimes 150. Now the A trade comes around, right? And you've already kind of like chiseled away the stone for 150. And now the A trade comes in. Now you're putting your $500 bag in. And now you're seeing that, like, now you take what you did in your B trade and you add that to your $500 bag, you know. So now it's a $650 bag. And that A trade goes there and hits for 100% for you, or even 50, right? But basically, we know we're going to get 100 out of the A trade. So you hit your 100%, you take your 500 profits, but that 150 that you chiseled away is now 300. See what I'm saying? Less risk, right? And the best part is that if you're losing trades on the B trades while you're messing around, learning entries, you can lose, you know, you're doing 20, 25% stop loss, right? So let's say you lose 4 in a row, you lose $100. Then you come and the A trade comes and you take your $500 bag and boom, you double up for 500, right? So you really didn't lose that 100. You just took 10% of your win away. But you're getting better at entries, right? See what I'm saying? That protects the guys, gets them better. More seasoned. How's that sound, Boogie?
Yeah, that's the move. And another thing with I'm not sure how much you're talking about cost averaging anymore, or that's just a little bit more advanced. But if while you're working on your entries, that if you say $10 is your trading bag for the moment until you level up or whatever, that if the trade starts going south on you, like, instead of, you know, like cost average buying a whole bunch, like a couple of times out of the last month that I've gotten in trouble is, like, you know, I'll be like doing 250 or even like $100 trade at that moment, and then all of a sudden the trade starts to go against me, and then I'll cost average buy, and then I'm like $800 in on a trade that I only meant to trade $100 with, and then if I get stopped out after, you know, however much I have in my account at that time, and then 150% stop loss on my whole, even money I didn't have in futures, like in my spot account, I'll transfer money over just so I can save that trade, when in reality I should have just let it stop out. Okay, I lost a trade. Instead of putting a whole bunch more money into it, being stubborn, trying to win it, that, you know, like, whatever your trading bag is, don't go above that. Yeah. Win a couple of those, then go up. Don't do, because then that one loss is like 20 wins.
Yeah.
Because it was a really big bag. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm thinking like, because, you know, cost average buying is a good thing to have. And I think what we'll do is a good point there is I'll emphasize cost average buying on the, so let's say we have a B trade, right? You have a $10 bag. So you enter with 80 and you keep 20% for cost averaging. And then when you drop that last 20%, now you put your stop loss at 20% stop loss, and that's it. Like, if it stops out, then you wait for everything to reset, period. Same thing with the A trade. You put 80% in, 20% on the sideline. If there's a little bit of a hiccup, you buy in on that, and your stop loss is 20% once you get the rest in. That way, guys don't.
On some of these points, that 20% is so close to the line. I don't know if MEXC has changed their levels, but, like, I mean, a year ago, I don't remember a 50% stop loss being so close to it. Like, literally, some of these coins, it was like 10 hundredths of a penny is the stop loss at 50%. Like, that one tiny little wick will pop you out of that. Yeah,
that's why, like, this is why when you, that's why taking the smaller bag and mastering entries on the B trade will make you so sharp on the A trade. Because the A trade really helps you out, because when you're going to be seeing that volume, you know what I mean? And when that volume's in your favor, that takes out 80% of that wick. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a lot of safety on that A trade. You know, like right now this S.
And if you have a tighter stop loss, like 20-30%, and it does go, there is a hoorah, then okay, fine, you lost 20% of what you were going to trade. It goes up, and you realize, oh shit, that's where I was supposed to enter, because I didn't pay attention to the 3 minute. The 3 minute was already coming up, and I didn't see that. Now it's at the top starting to curl down, and that could be like 30-40%, add
Right.
it to the next entry because you were already watching the trade and you knew what it was going to do. It just kicked you because you got the wrong entry, not the wrong
Right.
trade.
Correct. And then you're able to make that back on that next move, because that next move is going to give you 50% anyway, so you'll get your money back. All right, it's just about grinding it out. And then when you get into an A trade, the A trade pays you back your double. So the B trades are really just to get you better at witnessing information, and then the A trades are where you just execute what you learned. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, think of the B trades as going through boot camp, and A trades as the the payoff.
VC, got a question, and it might be very basic, but can you guys hear me? Boogie, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so the question is, a lot of times when I look at a coin and I want to get in, but it is just spiking left and right, up and down. There's a lot of spikes in there, which scares it scares me a lot because, I've lost money before in spikes. So what is if you could just teach us or tell us what to look for, what causes these, like some coins you see, they're just spiking up and down, up and down, up and down, and sometimes really huge spikes. Is that volatility, or how do we avoid that, or not get into coins like that, or wait for it to be a little bit more stable?
Yeah, so just go back, like look at the ones that you're talking about, right? Go look at the 1 hour value. All right?
Okay.
Let me know if it's above the 5 line in those situations, right? So that's why when you watch Volume is King, the key to it is to avoid these spikes, is really to get that volume on the 1 hour down below the 5, the 4, even negative, right? Because then you're in a very safe zone, you know what I mean?
I got it. Okay, you're right. I just I checked a couple of them before. It was because the volume was high.
Yeah, that's all it's going to be. Because it's like, it's a lot of, so all the spikes are is just basically when the exchanges have orders, the order books are hot. They're just not filling the orders because let's say, it's just like how you guys buy an order, right? Sometimes you put an order and you have so much that you're buying or selling, and then it like only sells at certain levels. It's because there's only so you might be selling 1 million coins and somebody might be buying 200,000, and another person might buy 400,000, right? So it's like filling orders at different times. So a lot of times those big spikes are that there are buying and selling going on. It's just that they haven't been able to match the buyers to the sellers or the sellers to the buyers. And then all of a sudden they're like, somebody comes in with a big order and it's like spike because they've been waiting for that order. So once you get rid of the volume, that volume is what lowers that spike option and puts it more in your favor when you're shorting.
Okay. And in line with this question, I just noticed when you were on this SFP, the 15 minutes was still down there. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, that has, bit me in the ass because I get in there and then 15 minutes starts rising up. But in this case, you were very confident. You said because the volume is low, 15 does not have the energy to get up. Correct?
Correct. That's why you got to watch the Volume is King, because that's what it's all about. This is more of an A trade, right? So when I'm looking at this volume here, the only thing that I'm worried about or want to work with here is going to be the 3 minute, because as volume goes down, the time frames that matter go down. So we are working. So when you see a lot of times when the B trades, we're working the 15 minute. In A trades, we're working the 3.
I see.
Because remember, when volume is low, there's not enough pressure, right? So think of it like this, right? So volume is like a balloon. The more it fills with water, the more it pulls down, right? So the lower it gets, think of it as the balloon being filled with water. So go look at the SFP, look at the 15 minute. You see how the volume just turned red?
Yeah.
It's filling up right now. So the 15 minute doesn't have the strength to actually bounce here. That's why we won't see a spike.
Got it.
Now, what that means is the 15 can't move, so you want to move down to the 3 and the 5. Because those become the ones you watch. Now, eventually, the 5 minute will get weak. And if you go look at your 5 minute, you can go back about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So about an hour, you can see where the 5 minute came down, went up halfway, came down, went up 25%, went flat, tried to bounce again to the halfway mark, came down, and now it's coming back to its fighting again, right? So the 5 minute is going through this confirmation where it's just basically fighting to stay level, right? So we're going to see that fight a little bit right there while it's basically getting orders in and out, right? And then the 3 minute is what we want to pay attention to. We want to sell at the top, take profits at the bottom, and then when the 3 minute starts to bend back down again, that's the next time we want to get in there. Now on B trades, the 15 minutes important because there's more volume. So as volume goes down and gets heavier, the time frames that we pay attention to are lower. So right now we should be watching the 5 and the 3. I like the 3 because the 3 is kind of in between the action of the 1 and the 5. So it gives us kind of like a middle ground to review.
I see.
And you can see, so your safety here is that if you catch that 3 minute, when that 3 minute bounced right there, and then you had that little spike up to 50, that 54 area. So everyone who grabbed that on that spike and got their true entry up there, 53.87, so forth, you guys are in a real good position here because the next spike, notice how that, see how that, go back from the 3 minute, right? You have a green spike candle that just happened. That candle only got up to 53.83. Now the original entry, if you go back, would have been your 3 minute pushing to the top and then coming down up there. That would have been that little spike 54.01, or at least the top of that next red candle where it really broke down about 53.88. So that next spike that the candle had was 53.83. So it was pretty much a little bit lower than what your entry is. So right now you're just in the beginning of this starting to consolidate, where it's basically leveling out the fact that the buyers are now starting to dwindle. So the sellers are starting to, you know, witness the fact that maybe this is the end of their push. And if you kind of look here now, if you guys have the indicators, if I sent you over to Alf, I'll share my screen real quick. And on the new indicators here, and you guys will get a chance to get them when you're all ready. But you see this, there's a green line right here, right? See this green line here? So if you're looking at my chart, you can see there's a little green line right here, right? And this is something you guys can do here. This is just basic. So all this is, this comes with the indicator. This is on the trend indicator. It's just a support line, right? And all it is, you know, you take your trend. Here's a big push, it came down. Here's a big push, it came down, and then it had another big push, right? So all you do is on those big pushes, you just basically, all it is a line here on those two bottoms, and that's pretty much it. So that's the support line, right? Now that automatically gets drawn with the new indicators, but if you're a new person or looking at charts, this is where you would draw that line, right? You'd have where there's a chart where it breaks the 200, goes up, hits the 200. Here it came through the 200 a little bit, goes up, use the 200 for support, goes up again. And you can see that on those two times that it broke the 200, we created a trend line, right? And that trend line goes up, and now this is headed to that trend line. The bonus here is that it's broken through the 200, right? So if you're actually like trading here and pattern trader and so forth, anytime you see this 200 break through right there, that would have been a good time to like prejudge this entry, right? 54.24 on that breakthrough through the 200. And then that's pretty much going down to this trend, right? So I'll make a video on that too, so you guys can have some idea of what's popping up or what's happening. But if we go back here, so we can see right here that the breakthrough would have came off of the 54.39, right? So if we jump back to the 1 hour, and I'll show you guys on the 1 hour RSI, you can see right here, the 1 hour starts to break down. Let me pull this up here. See the 1 hour breakdown right here? That's the 1 hour breakdown. And then this yellow line is the 2 hour, right? So when I jump to my 2 hour, that's where my 2 hour breaks down right there. Now, if I'm looking at my patterns that we were looking at right here. So the 54.39, see how that came in on there? This one right here, that's when it broke that 200 right there, right? But we would have already been aware of that because we had a 1 hour breaking down and the 2 hours started to come down. So that would have let us know that, you know, we're about to hit this support area, and that would have been the second time the 1 hour came up, and that was the breakthrough. So that would give you an idea if you guys are like looking at patterns. I see sometimes guys are talking about those, but what key is this is that you already have your 1 hour coming down, your 2 hour confirmed there's going to be a short, and then the 200 moving average is the target for us. So when the 2 hour came in, we could have targeted it from 55 to 54.19, and then when it fell below the 200, now we're targeting from here down. So these are trades that you guys can learn as you go down, as you get better at recognizing, you know, what's falling. These are just target areas, right? We don't really need them to trade. They're just nice to have on there for targets. So this is like the next lessons of once you guys learn how to use a simple system, it's nice to have an idea of like, oh, okay, this should come down to here, right? So the 15 minute, anytime we're getting the 1 hour, the 2 hour breaking down, we're always targeting the 15 minute, right? So we would go here and go, okay, well, if the 15 minute breaks down from here, this is 150% drops. This is definitely worth making me a trade here because the target's 150% down to the 15, 200. And I like to basically say half of that is my profit. So it'd be 75%. So there would be a good option for me to, you know, look at that and say, okay, 1 hour down, 2 hour down. I'm definitely going to take this little drop. And then if I slide over, I can see on my 1 hour right here that my volume is basically lining up for me. Here's the 1 hour coming down, and I'll make this a little thicker. And this line right here is the 5 line. See these dotted line, dot, 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 dot. So I can see right here that my volume on my 1 hour is already below my 5 line. You see that? So I know when I first seen this trade that I should have took the original short here at 55.38. And if you watch Volume is King, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a 300% trade.
The support and the EMA that you talked about, you always look at on the 3-minute time frame?
For the 200 moving average?
Yeah.
So for me, I like to see it on the B trade. You know, any like little pullbacks, you go from the 3 minute to the 200. On A trades, you go to the 15.
Got it.
Because it's more of a pullback. It's more volume. It's more of a drop. But that's how quick I can evaluate a trade, right? I mean, me, it's very simple. I can look here, I see my 1 hour coming down. I look at my volume, it's -5 line. Right here's my entry. 2 hour hits, right? Let's say I wait for confirmation, the 2 hour starts to bend down. Here's my entry, right? Either way, I enter any of those, that's 240% profits. But I'll make a video on that and we'll cover this. So I'll go back and cover this particular trade. And we'll see where we're at as far as like how it sets up and everything. But yeah, that's pretty.
You know, I noticed the minute you picked up S&P, when you pulled up on your screen, you said right away set up for short, before even getting into detail. So yeah, that's really not.
Yeah, because I could tell right by the volume, like instantly. Because it's not a B trade, it's an A trade. Right. So now, as soon as this 4 hour comes around, which it is, right, and I can look at the 3 hour for an ideal of when that's happening, right? I can pull up the 3 hour, and right here, I can see the 3 hour starting to struggle too. So as soon as this 3 hour comes with a red moon, which will follow this 2 hour red moon, which is literally heading there. So if this 2 hour red moon hits, then I know I'm going to get my 3 and my 4, and I'm going to see a pretty hefty pullback here, probably about 400%. Now if this 2 hour rejects, then I know that we're going to have a bounce, and then what's going to happen is the 3 hour is going to finish its way up, and then the 4 hour. So that basically will mean, so this right now is like an A trade volume, but we still need the 4 hour to break down, right? So the volume's in perfect position for an A trade. We just need the 4 hour to come with us. So the 4 hour starts to bend with the 3. This is going to be very, very heavy. And if I go, like I said, looking at this, how we found this thing was taking a look at here, which was on this SFP. And I can see that this thing is up literally in the last 24 hours. I think it was up like something like 30% or something stupid. So let's see, in a day, let's go 7 days. So yeah, the thing's up 30% in 7 days. All right, there's no way it's gonna hold that. I don't even know what this coin is. Let's go take a look. This thing's on Binance, KuCoin, Pancake, SafePal. SafePal is a cryptocurrency wallet launched in 2018. Helps users protect grow their digital assets. SafePal provides hardware, software. So I mean, there's obviously some news about this shit, and it pumped. But that's pretty much it on there. So. Yeah, so I would do a little research on there, maybe the interesting thing there, it's a wallet. Like I said, what I look at here, guys, is when you look at something is circulating supply. So right now, circulating supply is 100%, right? This is actually a good coin to buy. Anytime it has circulating supply at 100%, that means they can't dump their coins on the market. So now this is completely, if you're going to be looking into a coin to maybe put into a possible moon bag, you might want to look into this. So when it's done dumping here, you might want to buy a little bit for your moon bag. That's about it, guys. All right, boys and girls. So post your stuff in the Discord. This is just an intro in there, just for you guys. Look at Smokey 141. Yeah, this is just a intro to where to post so we can look at your trades, and then we can give some feedback, and then everyone can kind of like get more information. But that's how check out all your videos, where to post, where to put them, and then we can make some trades and videos on them, and then go from there, man. I'm gonna make the new videos for the breaking down of B trades and A trades, money wise.
Yeah, I had one idea for the B trade and A trade as far as until people get a little better at where they're hoping these are going to go as far as targets and how to identify targets. That like maybe just as a generalization for a B trade, TP 1, 2, and 3 could be like 30, 60, 90, and then an A trade is more like 50, 100, 150. So yeah. You just when you're looking at a B trade, you just completely take out the fact that you're going to get a 400% gainer out of it. Just don't even think about that. Just get better at taking your profits, because it could go 45 and that's it.
Yeah.
Until the A trade's ready. You know, some of them go big. I think it was a couple of days ago. We were on a B trade, but it ended up having a move, and we caught a runner on a B trade, which can happen. But keep your expectations realistic.
Well, that's why. See, so what we'll do is like the B trade will be like you set your profit taking, right? And you're like, all right, I'm gonna set my goal is to get to that 30% zone. So you can type in 30%, and then they'll tell you the price. Right, write that down on a piece of paper, and then you can move your profit to 50%, right? And then when you see the price going past 30%, just move your stop loss to the 30% zone when it gets above 40, and then you can increase your regular take profit to 100, and now you're locked in. So now you have your 30%. If it becomes a runner for you and starts to run and hits 100 for you, or you keep moving that, you know what I mean? Keep moving your stop loss. It gets up to 100, 80%. Move your stop loss to 50. Take your profit to 130, and slowly start to learn how to move those levels. And then if it drops back down, you're done, right? But either way, we just want to be real crisp on taking 30% on all those B trades and just compounding them. So that way, when we get to an A trade, we have extra cash. So that's what I like, because that's what I make the video on, is just focusing on moving that 30% gainer and keeping it simple. That should help everybody out. That way they're not trying to figure out targets. They're just figuring out how to slide their percentages, their take profit and their stop loss, how to move it accordingly. And that's it. That's all they really got to do. Once it hits out, it's out. And you just wait for the next reset. And build it up. That's all. I think that'll help everybody out. So I'll make that new video there and I'll break that down. But all we need to do right now, guys, is just post when you're looking at a trade, when you find it. Geez. Right, and then like here, so like even this is kind of like a great example with Paul. I might not get a lot in percentage, but I'm in the green, right? He doesn't realize like the problem is that guys are too good at making 3, 4, 500%. That the people forget the normal is 30, right? We're not trying to hit grand slams, we're trying to hit singles. 30%, 10 times compounded on an A trade, right? So if you take 30 bucks out of 100, you do it 5 times, it's 150. You put it in an A trade and make it worth 100%, you just made 300, right? So if you do that weekly, you have, you sit there and you do, B trades all week, at least 150 into A trades at least 3 times. I mean, that's 900 bucks, right? That's a $50,000 a year by chiseling away the stone. And that's the next video I'm going to make, is really like breaking that down, right? We need to focus on, and I think as a community, we need to focus on 30% gainers, right? Compounding, right? We got to be good at taking the little money, making it bigger. Earn the little money and get it into an A trade for the real money, right? Grind. We got to be grinding that shit out. Because guys get caught up in those big trades too much. They got to keep setting their profits correctly so that they earn their way up. Compounding. So that's the next video I'm going to make, guys. So I'm going to get that for you guys done tonight. And I'll get that set up for you, man. Other than that, guys, that's, I mean, just for a basic intro, I just wanted you guys to, navigate through Discord, find where you can find videos, post what you're doing, and then we can get more active. I'm feeling a lot better, so I'll be more active on the videos. And we're going to start really pumping this shit out over the next week. We're going to stay really solid on it. And I'm going to drive home, like compounding B trades into A trades. All right, boys, anything else, man? Everybody good? Yes, sir. What up, Gus?
One question. Can you make a video on how to master
All right, hold on, Gus. What did you say? Make a video on what?
and how to master the 15 minutes?
Oh, yeah. So okay, all right. So the video I'm going to make, all right, is going to be breaking down the B trade, how much you should be investing in a B trade, the profits you should be taking on a B trade, and then rolling them over into A trades. So that's going to cover the 15-minute, bro. The 15-minute is how we master the B trade. The 3-minute is how we master the A trade. I got you, bro.
And just on that point, for anyone new, Carlos has been with us for a long time, and he's a little more. He's really fast with this, like the way he trades, and he also trades like 3 coins at a time and very large bags. So, and he does the system, but he also does like only a little bit of it. So just if he calls some stuff out, check into what it is that he's doing before you do, because he's so in and out so quickly. He's playing only the 15-minute. He disregards like higher time frames, and he's trading off the 1 minute. So it's, I mean, you find what works for you, but just as you're beginning, stick to the system. Watch the volume is key, and if someone calls out a coin, do your checklist that makes sense for you, that has worked for you in the system. And just be careful that some of the guys are a little more
little gunslingers.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say that because Carlos went on a tear the other day, and even I was like, yeah, I want to jump in on one. And like when I realized he wasn't watching volume at all, volume was super high.
Yeah.
And he'll reverse his trades right away too. So there's little techniques that keeps him cooking. But you know what I mean? Just to some of us are, we'll stretch the envelope a little bit, but when you're in the beginning and get frustrated on entry,
just stay
follow the system.
Follow the system.
If it's not ready, don't take it.
And we're gonna get Carlos. Carlos will come to the system pretty soon. A lot of times when guys come in, they're gunslingers, right? So everybody loves the trade. You know, so he takes from the system what he likes, and then when he sees those profits come in, and then he pushes those profits. So it's exciting, right? We'll slow him down a little bit. We'll get him geared up so he can get into where, you know, he doesn't give back.
He's even said it. He's like, he has a couple other businesses that he manages, so he's like, I'm bored and like I want to trade fast, which it works out, but bites him in the ass too. But I just wanted, you know, any of the new people that, you know, definitely if he calls one out, check into it.
Yeah.
But watch the volume. That's got me in trouble. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, it says short, but there's still a ton of volume, and then all of a sudden that big wick comes out of nowhere and hits your stop loss. You're like, why? Why? Is because there was too much volume.
Too much value. Yeah, so you got to make sure you're in the A trade and you understand what the A trade is versus the B trade, right? Carlos is doing C trades, B trades, A trades, all at the same level. I'm going to spend a little time with him over the next week or so, and I'm going to help him get into where he can trade more, but he'd be a lot more efficient. But yeah, he's you know, a lot of times, guys, when we're trading, even when like I'm on live, you'll see me switch positions in and out real quick. And that's why I say when I'm on live, you know, when we're calling out trades, you know, Boogie has a good point. You need to go in, look at it on the chart, and then enter the way you would normally enter. You have to stay structured. And that's what I'm going to focus on in this next video, is really bearing down on like focusing on doing what you are supposed to do. And then, you know, as people come in with their, you know, their styles, they'll eventually convert over, right? So that I got to spend a little bit more time with Carlos because Carlos is a different type of animal. And then, you know,
I forgot. He also uses auto margin, which nobody in here, I don't even think knows what that is. And that is one of the scariest fucking ways you can trade. I shit you not, dude. Like if you have $1,000 and you put a $10 trade in, click auto margin. If it starts to go the other way, it'll
buy
up
for
that
you.
whole grand.
Yeah.
In a matter of like,
If he's cost average buying without watching.
Right. And he's got bags to play that way, which, you know, when you're learning, you know, and there's no reason to lose. I don't know if you might have missed it. It was a couple weeks ago, but he had his auto margin on an XRP short. It went up, and he lost, like, he was down 20 grand, and then he finally got it to go the other way, and then got out of it at like 2,500 and was happy to lose the 2,500 because of how bad he was down. And that auto margin will just keep taking your money to.
I gotta spend a little time with Carlos.
I'm not calling him out by any means.
No, I love Carlos, man. I love Carlos.
Just
but
know that he auto margins.
Yeah, he's an animal.
He's able to sometimes get some of these trades at such amazing entry points, is because the computer is doing it for him, and he's got a big ass bag to go with it.
Now that's why you have to be, guys, remember when you're in the Discord, there's everybody from every part of life here. I do have some very big bag holders in this mug, and they do crazy ass shit. So a lot of times, remember, you are responsible for checking the chart and making your entry based on the 3 minute the way you're supposed to, and volume the way you're supposed to, okay? A lot of guys here, you know, there's some guys in here that, you know, got a couple 100,000, and you guys are unaware of it, but they're cost average buying, and it's nothing for them to drop 10 grand to save their ass, but you want to get better at what you're doing, right? So it's, and I understand them, because it's like, I tell them all the time, like, I know it's exciting, and I know when we're learning, we don't want to make $100 because we're used to making 5 grand, right? It takes a little bit of time to make adjustment to learning how to like compound that shit, you know. So I'm gonna spend the next couple weeks with Carlos, and he'll be a lot happier when he's like, instead of going up and down 50 grand a week, when he's making 150,000 a week, he'll feel a lot better. But that takes time, guys. So just make sure you're responsible for your trades, as Boogie's pointing out, and then, you know, just follow the system and stay in it, and then everybody else will conform into it, guys. But we do have animals that come in here and they run wild, and, you know, they're good people, man. They just, you know, that's kind of where we are, and eventually they'll get it down, and it just takes time. So now that all the videos are down, I'll have more time to one-on-one with a lot of people, and I think we'll start advancing a lot faster. The learning curve used to be 6 months. We got it down to 3, and I think we got it down to about 4 weeks now. So I'm very excited about all the advancements and indicators and everything that we got coming up and created over the last 6 weeks, and I think we're think we're in a good shape now. So now I'm going to just take the next 2 months and really just bear down on one-on-ones and, you know, get guys like Carlos moving in the right direction. So he can actually do a lot more than he's watching. But, you know, that just makes the whole group better. Appreciate you, Boogie.
Word.
Yeah, no, it's fun, man. It's like you know, and the other thing, guys, is you know, as everyone who comes in here, I do take phone calls and I talk to them for about 40 minutes before I invite them in, and that's just because you know we're at the point where it's more about bringing people in on a family level because you know the community is the real king of this journey because at the end of the day, the more good people you have calling the system out correctly, the more everybody wins. And it just creates, you know, a lot more winning for everybody. And then you guys will end up building, you know, friendships with people and helping each other, like literally get to your freedom and to financial freedom where you can just, you know, be at home with the families and really just do things that you want to do in life. So that's the next 2.5, 3 year journey. So when I am bringing people in here, I am taking the time to evaluate them, see who they are, and then before I let them in, I really make sure that if you guys are spending time with them and working with them, that it's not in vain, and that we're actually bringing people in now that are like looking for the same scenario. So that way, it's a very close knit society, and that's really key on that. So you know, and that's where I do appreciate guys like Boogie. Boogie's been here through a lot of bullshit over the last year, a little bit longer, but you know, hanging in there. And then we go through a lot of different things, but I think we're pretty clean now, and the group is pretty solid, and we've cleaned up a lot of stuff, fixed a lot of things, revamped the trading styles, the systems, to where now it's like the learning curve went from 6 months to 3 months to now like 4 weeks. So now we're really in a good spot here, and now the next thing is just to execute this shit out for the next bull run and have everybody make their 6 figures to $500,000 and put themselves in a position to really take advantage of this crypto shit. So I appreciate you, man, Boogie.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you're learning, man. I'm excited for you, brother. Good times ahead, my friend. Good times. All right, guys, I'm gonna hop off. I'm gonna go finish these videos today and tomorrow. We'll be doing more one-on-ones, and you know, I'll be trading a lot more and doing more videos, going through all your trades and just sharpening everything up now so that everybody can be a lot better and be more helpful to everybody that comes in. All right, guys, I'll be talking to you later, man. If you have any questions, send me a message. Later. And guys, don't forget the live trade is open 24/7. So even if I'm not in here, you should be in here talking, going over trades, helping each other find trades. Just, you know, instead of texting, you can be in here. It's a live trade is basically for you guys to be in here and be talking all the time, right? Sometimes I'll hop in, you might not hear me talking, but I'm just listening. So if you guys are talking about something, if you say something that you're talking about, I'll jump in and say, hey man, don't forget this, this, and this, right? So use the live trade to be active and get you guys squared away. All right, boys, I'm going.
Thanks, big dog. Appreciate you, man.
No problem, man. I'm going mute, but I'll still listen to you guys. So if you're in here talking trades or whatever, I can still hear you. Later, boys.
Thanks, CC.
Y'all hear me?
Hey, Boogie, a lot of these,
Yo!
the new guys on here, today also they were messaging and asking some questions. So if you don't mind, just kind of, I know you mentioned this so many times to me as well and to everyone on the chat, but if you just go over the checklist that you follow, because I know you're very strict with some of the when you follow the system for a short. What are things that must have for a short before we enter a short?
Yeah, so I know Anthony asked me earlier to jump in here and help him. You know, and I want to just be and I'll go through it. But I want to say that I've used the word checklist as a, you know, as a hypothetical. I don't think VC's ever really had a like an actual like these 10 things you have to have or you don't. Like there's different scenarios that come up with a trade. I mean, if it was math, then everybody would, you know, everybody in the world would catch on to that math equation, right? There's always going to be little bits of things that are, you know, not quite. So when I use the word checklist, it's like I use a hypothetical 10, right? So when you're looking for a trade, you want to have 10 out of 10 things. So it's the lowest possible chance you're going to lose. I mean it's crypto, so anything can happen and if you're not aware of what's going on in the world, like if you're following all the indicators, but the FOMC meeting is about to happen on a Wednesday and you didn't know that, all of a sudden Bitcoin, shoots up $1,000 and drops $2,000 in like 15 seconds. You know what I mean? Like those little tidbits are helpful to know, like when the Asian market opens, when London closes. You know what I mean? Like those types of things can change the market regardless of an indicator. So the better you get, the more you'll know about certain things like that. Trading on the weekend is kind of a little less volume than it is during the week because all the suits and the whales aren't really trading on the weekends. So that's why a lot of guys don't trade on weekends. There's less volume. Doesn't mean you can't still find trades, but like little things like this can affect how that checklist is found out. But the system that VC's laid out, and I say it, I'll use the word 10 as a checklist. If you have 8, 9, even 10 out of that 10, then that's a great trade and you should be jumping in on that. But if it only has 5 of the 10, then now it becomes more like a coin flip. And when you're flipping coins, that's gambling. So the better you can get at keeping yourself out of gambling and saying, well, it's got the 2 hour is at the top, but it's not curling yet. But the 1 hour is curling, but it still has volume. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go in. See, that type of stuff is what we're trying to get to stop. And, everyone is at different levels of their trading experience. When they come in, some of us, like me, I had to unlearn some of my habits and gambling tendencies to make the system work, right? So the checklist again is more about how many things can I check off that meet the criteria of a B trade or an A trade before I jump. And if you sit and watch a coin for an hour and a half when you had 7 of those 10, by the time you were waiting for that one thing to happen, the first 2 things that you saw could have already went to the bottom and now need to reset again. That's also somewhere where people can lose a little bit of their checklist, right? So, I mean, I can run through some of the major things that I look for right away, but I would say the times I've said the word checklist in the past, it was more of a hypothetical 10 out of 10. And to make sure the more checks you have, the better chance you have of being successful in that trade. Does that make sense?
No, sure, for sure. Yeah, if you could just kind of review some of the things that you look for, that's all we're asking for, so guys can understand a little bit better.
All right. So, should we do SFP just because we all were on that?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. If I did a specific coin, let's we're in SFP and we've already chatted. Let just go to XRP just because I have it up. So the first thing I would do, we don't trade against the 15-minute, right? So 15-minute would be where I would assess a short. And if we're doing shorts, the 15-minute has to be in our favor because we're using high leverage. So if the 15-minute is at the bottom, then there's really no room for me to short it unless there's some other things that play out, right? Like is the volume buried? Is the volume on the 1 hour below the 5? There's other things that could, like how VC took this trade where the 15 might not necessarily have been in the primo position, and could we have gotten it in earlier? Sure, but that comes to play when it's helpful when you're looking for trades and waiting on the trade to be at the right time at the right spot for the maximum amount. But sometimes you look and you're like, oh man, that dropped so much. But if you go back to where it started the drop, it wouldn't have had everything in that checklist at that time. Did it work? Sure. Some of them do work, but
we're looking for safer win, 70, 80, 90% of the time. And don't everyone loses a trade. That's going to happen, right? So, as far as me, 15-minute has to be in your favor. And then if I see the 15 and the 30 look good, they're at the top. And again, we're talking about a short. Then I'm like, all right. Then I'll go to the 4 hour, see where that's at. Then the 2 hour, and then I'll look through all the 1, 2, 3, and 4s just to see where they are. Because if the 4 hours bending, then we're getting close to an A trade. But the one might be all the way down. So then it's like you need that bounce. It depends on the trade, honestly. All right, if I'm gonna do a real quick checklist, first off, I would go to CoinMarketCap, see what's pumped. Whatever the top one is, probably still pumping. So somewhere between the second and third, all the way down to like the eighth coin on that list is where I'd be looking for coins, because you don't want it to still be going up and sit there for an hour waiting for it to time the reversal. You want it to have already made its reversal, right? So once that's been established, go through your higher time frames. You at least want the 2 hour topped before you even take a short. Some guys will just play the 1, 30, and the 15. Is there shorts in that? Sure. But I've found that why not just find the one that works the best, not one that works some of the time, right? So 2 hour has to be topped, and not necessarily like maxed out, but just bending down, right? And we've played with certain versions of how that should be, whether it's past the 90 line, past the 95 line. It's got to be going south. And can it turn around? Sure. But this is just one of the checklists. So 4 hour top heading down is best. That's more of the A trade. But the version of the B trade that's easier to find is the 2 hour curling. Are you looking at XRP with me? Or let's look at SFP just because it has some of those things already. All right. Sorry.
Okay, no, I was on XRP, but yeah, I'll go back to SFP.
And this will be like XRP didn't have really the stuff, so I would have already just walked away and not did the short. But since SFP has stuff, it'll be like, all right, so you go, this big last pump it had would be maybe why it was even on our radar. Like I don't
What
even
time frame
know
should we go
what
on? Right now,
when
just
you like if you went to coin market cap, you saw a coin pumped today, you're like, all right, I'm gonna go check it out. And then you see whether it's made its pullbacks yet or not. Then you go to start with the four is bending down. That's good, even though it's not all the way at the top, it's still bending down, which is why this would start to feel like an A trade. Then the 3 just is a little bit in the future, and that's what time frames are. They're just the smaller the time frame, just you're looking into the future of a bigger one. Like nothing will happen to the 4 that hasn't happened to the 2 already, right?
okay.
And now, so I start with the 4 hour. Most of the time, the 4 hour isn't. I mean, it's easier to find a B trade than an A trade, because there'll be like 4 B trades happen in one A trade, and you can sometimes trade the A trade twice.
Yeah.
But always start with the 4 so you really know. I get excited if the 4 is where I want it to be, but not necessarily make me stay out of the trade. Then so 4 to the 2. The 2 is definitely bending. It's past the 80 now. Great. This is a great shot. Now you look at the moons volume on that 2 coming down. Red moons coming somewhere in the next hour or 2 hours probably. Then you go to the 1 hour. 1 hour is clutch. Check volume. Is it below the 5? Does it have a moon? Where's the RSI? Does it have room to go? So somewhere, if you catch the 2 hour bending and the 4 hour bending, it's chances are your 1 hour is already spent, because your 1 hour can't be at the top curling and also the 2 and the 4. That's very rare to get all that.
Yeah.
If you get that, that's great. But and volume coming down, you know what I mean? Like the 1 hour kind of has to, blow its load before the higher time frames will show it. Like 4 hour takes a great amount of time for it to show anything, especially if you're staring at it, right?
Yeah.
So 1 hour, volume below the 5. Where's the moons at? Pay attention to moon resets, which is and this one hasn't started a trend yet. So you just take all those into account, but the one is definitely heading down on the RSI, which is great. So then all the higher time frames are the only way I'll even look at the coin. And if none of that, what I just said in the higher time frames, 4, 3, 2, 1, is in our favor, at the very least, the 2 hour with a 1 hour having good stuff about it, then I'll just move on to the next coin. But if you have the 4 topped, the 2 hour curling, and the 1 hour still has time to go before it hits the bottom, volume below the 5, and a red moon, then we'll go on. There could be a chance that it doesn't have the red moon yet, but is it close? Has it rejected getting the moon? These little things will be like kind of, more of a toss up. I wouldn't call it a checklist, but there's just more things that'll make you feel better about going down the timeline. All right, so all those things look good. Now it's time for entry. Is the 30-minute bottomed and done? Has it already made its short? Because sometimes you'll find these and be like, shit, I missed it. Volume steadily declining in all time frames can be a reason why you stay in it. But again, will it go down further? Probably, but how much room does it have on the 15 to keep going down? And if you look back at some coins, like the 15 can be buried and it can go down another 150% or 1.5%. But again, it can also come back up, right? So there's always going to be exceptions to any of these, but the more trades you can find with these things in your favor are going to be what and why, and what makes you have the confidence to stay in the trade, right? This 15-minute could come up at any moment.
You guys hear me?
Volume is saying that it's going to stay down, so this is why we're still in this trade.
Are you guys looking at XRP?
Well, I was just using it as an example, but I went back to SFP just because it had more of the things of reason why we would be in that short.
Oh yeah. And then what you're saying there, right? So just kind of like when you look at the 15 being buried and it falls more, that's the power of the A trade. Remember, when the volume is negative on the 1 hour, it's like a balloon. It's filled with more water. It's pulling. It's gravity. It's going to pull further down. And once you pass the 1 hour like 0 point of volume, it's very hard for a 15-minute to bounce because there is no volume. There's no oxygen. Yeah, because the volume that's why the 1 hour volume is going to dictate the bounce of the 15. The higher the volume, the 15 bounces. When it breaks below the 5 line, you're losing. The 15-minute will go up halfway and then give up. Once that 1 hour volume goes negative, the 15 minutes not going to be able to come off the floor. That's where you move down. So once that volume on the 1 hour gets to the negative or the 0 line, you move to the 5 minute as a guide, and then eventually to the 3. Because there's no buyers to lift the 15 minute up. There's no value. That's the problem on there.
That's really good. Well, 5 minutes is moving up, VC. So that's something you need to keep your eyes on, because that's going to bring up the percent. It's going to go back in negative, right?
Yeah. So like for us, like we're in a higher entry point there. So right here, what I'm looking for is just basically as long as my volume keeps going in my direction. So here, the 5 minute would be your entry point. So if you were coming to enter here, you would have entered when that 5 minute went back to the top, right? And that would have been something of an entry point around 53.84, right? Now it's going back up again, which is probably going to touch a little bit lower than 53.84, but eventually it's working its way back down, right? So what we're waiting for is the continuation of the full move, right? And you'll see the 15 minute after it's finally consolidates, right? Which we're kind of getting to that right there because we had that earlier drop. So look at the 15 minute, right? Go back, we had one drop, the 2 hours started going down. That's our second drop. So we haven't got to our next drop, which is our 4 hours. So this is still a B trade here, right? But the volume is already committed to an A. So as soon as we see the 4 hour cross, which go look at the 4 hour just crossed.
Yeah.
That is going to be what we want right here. So this is showing a lot of weight or gravity pulling down on it. That's why we're in this trade here. So now the 15 minute showing a little bit of strength here. We're not too worried about its bounce here because everything's already pulling down, right? So we don't expect it to go crazy here. We expect it to go back to its little high point it had of maybe 53.84-ish, but that's about it. All right, so if you're coming to this late and you're looking for a second entry, let's say that you already made this first trade and you hit, then the second trade you want to get into. You would have got into it when the 15 minutes started to find some type of life, which is what you're getting right here. So when this 15 minute decides to break back down, that would be your second opportunity to enter this trade for the 4 hour, which is the A trade. So this is the end of the B trade, right? So right now it's finding a floor or some type of level. At the end of this B trade, which is the trade I want to do, is when this 15 minute, now that it's finally, after all the beating it took, it's finally finding some air. This is the move it's going to make here. So when this 15 pushes up and rejects and starts to go down, that's the A trade I want to take advantage of. So this is the last, this is the last hurrah of this fight back. Like as soon as this breaks down, this will be where we want to be getting into. Now, if this was the beginning of a B trade, right, where we see the trade come in, a lot of times I want to see something like even a 1 hour come down. If the volume's higher, I would let the 1 hour go to the bottom, bounce up, and then when it rejected and started to go down, then I would enter that trade. Right? I like the retesting of the 1 hour coming off the bottom, resetting, going up, and then making its move down. Right here, we still have the 1 hour going down and the volume is already negative. All right, so now we got to go down to the lower time frames, which would be the 15 minute. So now the 15 minute is going to make its push up, and then when it gives up, that's going to be your entry for your next beginning of your A trade, because now you have your 4 hour going down, your 15 minute just reversed, and everything's going in your favor. So that's the key to like what we want to set up next.
15, or there's a 5 minute moon, the green moon now.
Yeah, but you're so like that. So right here it would be if you're waiting on this entry. Let's say you just came up to this trade, you'd wait for the 15 because the 15 is showing life.
Got it.
Right, the 15 is already showing life. So now at that point, you would wait for this 15 to finish doing whatever it's going to do. Right, because now you have the momentum. Now the 4 hour just crossed, which means in the next 15 to 35, maybe even 40 minutes, it'll start dragging back down. So whatever this little pump is from the 15, we shouldn't see anything too special here. Maybe, like I said, the high point of it was 54 earlier, where we were looking to get into in the beginning. That's probably going to go back and retouch that again. This is why we always talk about setting your profits. Earlier this trade, when we got into it, went for 50%. Right? Jumping out of that because we don't have the 4 hour in our direction. Now you're just waiting for a re-entry. Right? The re-entry is going to be the fit. It could go right back to its first entry, which is 54. But right now,
if your TP hit at 50%, you came out. Now you would wait for the reset.
Right, because at that point when we made that first trade, the 4 hour hadn't broken down yet.
Yeah.
It just crossed right now. So now I would move my little red triangle, my red rectangle, and I would put it on this one. This would be the beginning of the 4 hour crossover. So now that happened, now I look for an entry, right? And that entry is going to be some type of bounce. That's going to be, something's going to bounce, right? And the 1 hour is still heading down, so that's not going to bounce. The 15 minute is showing that it wants to bounce here. So as soon as this 15 pulls up, however far it gets, when it starts to head the other way, that's my entry, right? Now, to get better entries, you can go to the 5 minute, right? And like you see how you have your 5 minute moon, you can see where the 5 minutes is touching the 54 entry, right? So look to go a little bit higher, like try to get 54.10 or something. You know what I mean? Like try to grab whatever these little pushes is on the 5 minutes. That's going to be your, whatever these wicks are, right? So I would be setting my buys here like 54.05, 54.10, right? Hoping that it gets a wick around there, and I'd put about 25% on each of those, right? So there'd be half my bag. But that's what I would be looking for, is for it to retouch the 200 moving average again and get rejected. Now here's our 54 right here. So we'd be filling orders in 54.05 in a little bit. But only 25%, and then 54.10 would be the other 25. Now if it only gets one of them and starts to head the other direction and the 5 minutes starts to head back down, then I would start, I'd put another 25% in, and I would start buying around this area.
So you don't think the 15 minute will come up that far?
Now with
To
the
meet that.
now with the volume that low, right? That's the safety that we have. So once we commit to this, there's your 54.05. So right here, when we start committing to this, right, when this 5 minute gets to this top area and starts to head the other direction, right? Yeah, keep in mind we're always thinking about a 25% stop loss, right? There's your 54.10. So here's our hit right here. Now we'd be 50% of our bag in, right? And now you have this is what Boogie was talking about. When you start setting targets or entries, you get to where you have, your cost average buying, right? So this is a scenario where, if you're buying early or trying to catch these, you catch yourself in these type of areas here, where now you see that we got that high 54.12 and then it went back down, right? Yeah. This is where you would say, okay, let me set another buy at 54.12, which was the last high, and do another, 20% of my bag there, right? And when you would get it right here. So you'd be buying these little candles here, right? And then you'd go to 54.20, right? For another 25%. But once you got your bag in there and you were done cost average buying, you'd have to go to your stop loss and you'd have to put 25% on, right? Because no matter what, that's your stop loss. You know what I mean? And then if it breaks that, then all you would do, like Boogie said, instead of chasing it, all you would do is say, okay, I tried to get a little cheeky here and didn't really work out. So now I'm just going to sit back and wait to let the 15 minute reverse. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes you win those, sometimes you don't. But it's a system that when you're trying it, you don't want to keep buying into it. You have to have a limit, right? So right now you'd be about 75% in, and you'd have an average between 54.05 to 54.15, right? With some orders set for 54.20. Right, and now you're kind of going in the right direction, so it's heading in your direction here. It's pulling down, so it's keeping you like, okay, I'm pretty decent here. I got some more money here that I have 54.20, right? But as soon as that 15 bends south, I'm putting my other whatever I have left in, and then I'm setting my stop loss at 25%.
Got it.
And the reason why you can take that risk here is because of the volume on the 1 hour being negative, right? Plus the 1 hour still heading down. We still have the 2 hour down, and we still have the 4 hour just crossing, right? So you're in a pretty good position here overall. And now you're just waiting for everything to kind of like settle through. But if you're playing it completely safe, this is where you just sit back and you just enter on the 15-minute bend. And that's it. But I just wanted to let, like what Boogie was talking about right there, it just comes down to all the things work. They just work differently when volume's involved, right? So the 15-minute on the floor is only important to get into a trade if the volume is breaking south with the 15 down. If If you look here, the 15's been on the floor for over an hour and a half, right? Now we're starting to get a final hurrah here, right? Going into the next trade, which is anytime a RSI starts to bend down, there's always a last filling of the orders. So this is the last hoorah. So right now, the 4 hour
Because the whole world looks at RSIs. That's one of the most heavily used indicators.
Yeah, yeah.
And everybody's looking at it. So the market makers can see stop losses.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah, so right now, you got all these people thinking, okay, I'm going to jump in a short early here, and they're just doing one last buy to clean up liquidity. And and everybody knows, like if you're placing orders, the order books are closing out their order books right now, right? They're putting in the last of the orders, and that's why you're getting this little pump here. But since the volume's so low, we're not worried about a big pump here, right? But once again, if you're cost average buying here, you're saying, okay, I'm gonna try to get the best entry. I'm gonna start buying a little bit higher than my 200 moving average on my 15, and I'm looking a little bit higher than that, right? Then you're just protecting yourself by 25% entries, go higher, right? The safe play here. The system is basically to say, okay, I'm gonna wait until the 15-minute gives up, or at least I think we have a. So here's a 15-minute red moon, right? So look for a 15-minute rejection. So when that 15-minute green moon comes up and it gets rejected and it starts to come down, then that would be an entry that I would be looking at. But this is the beginning of the A trade. The 4 hour just started down. Everything started down. Now I'm just waiting for my 15-minute entry, right? So I'm going to need my 3-minute red moon, right? And this is kind of like the checklist, what we're talking about, right? So before you even go in the short is entered by what? 3-minute red moon, 3-minute red trend, right? Yeah. So look at your 3-minute. So before you start jumping trades, right? You can see it because things happen quick. Like when you're watching the trade, you're getting excited. You can just go back and say, okay, all right, I want to jump in this trade. And if you just flip over to your 3-minute, you'd see right there you have a 3-minute green moon. So right now you're not in this. And you can see how quickly this will save you. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, I'm going to jump this trade. 3-minute green moon turns red. That's my trade. That's what I want to do. Right?
Thank you.
And that's how quick you can go through your checklist. 3-minute green moon, 3-minute red trend, your entry. Right? We don't have that yet, so we can't enter. Like that's how quickly you can take yourself away from, okay, I'm about to enter, I'm going to take this early entry. You start setting yourself up because, that's what happens. It's like a real trade. You're looking at the 15-minute, you're like 200 moving average. I'm going to take the rejection here. And, most of the time, 70% of the time you're going to hit. But 25% of the time you're not. So instead of just taking that risk and you're just saying, you know what, I'm just going to wait for this to do what it's supposed to do. I want to enter when it gets above the 200 moving average, which it is right now. So what does that mean for me? Let me go to my 3-minute. And the minute I get a red moon, red trend, I'm going to enter. And that's how quickly the basically steps of how to enter, where you're entering, and then always red moon, red trend. Now, are you going to be right on this 54.29 area, 20 area? Yeah, more than likely you're going to be, this is where it rejects, right? See, look at the 3 minutes. See, it's rejecting off the 200 moving average. But to be the safest person out there, all you simply do, and there's that green line again. Remember I showed you guys that earlier? That trend line from the 2 bottoms on the 3-minute. See how it hit there and bounced? I'll cover that here. So let me show you. I'll show you my screen. So earlier I was talking about when you use the, all right, let me know when you see my screen. All right, so what I was saying earlier was there's a green line. Remember I said on the 3 minutes, see how it got above the 200 moving average, it broke through. That's the beginning of your trend line. The next 200 it broke through. That's the next trend, right? take a line, draw that straight up. Notice how it bounced off of that again. See that? This green line is the support line. It's basically a trend line on the 3 minute. So far it's respecting the trend. It's hitting it, it's bouncing. So these trends right here, you know, this is with the new indicators, just give you an idea of where you're gonna find a bounce of support. We got that. But on the indicators, we're waiting anyways. We don't have a green moon. We don't have, I mean, we have a green moon, we have a green trend. So right now, this is a bounce, right? So even if we want to enter a short here, we need to be very patient and say, okay, do I jump the 200 moving average? Do I take one of these spikes? That's why a lot of times when people are trading patterns or support and resistance lines, I mean, it's like, guys, you have to just be patient, right? That's why we have these indicators, right? We need a red moon and a red trend, and we just don't have it. So we just can't take this trade. Like, that's one of the checklists, right? A checklist is, if you want to jump this trade, you would need at least a red moon, which we don't have. So that should save you from making a dumb entry every single time. There's no red moon and there's no red trend. So at this point, you still can't jump this trade. And that's why I wanted to point out, like, when you do your checklist, just use the basics. Here's the 4 hour hits. It exactly bounces off the trend and goes for a pump. Now, bouncing here, this just lets me know that, okay, this is the 4 hour, it's ready for a trade. Now I need to go look for my trade. Here's my 4 hour RSI going south. It just crossed. Now I need to find a trade. How do I find a trade? 3 hour red moon, 3 hour red trend. I don't have that yet. Boom. So now the next thing is I slide to my 15 minute. What do I have? My 15 minute bouncing. Beautiful. That means that the 15 minutes going to go up. When it rejects and starts to head down, that's another indicator for my short. How's my 30 minute? It's bouncing. So now I need to wait for the 15 and the 30. Where's my 1 hour? Headed down. Perfect. Everything looks good. 2 hours headed down. We look good. 3 hours headed down. All right, we have ourselves an A trade. Volume on the 1 hour below the 4.5 line. We are perfectly positioned for a big ass trade. Now we just need to get it wrapped up to the entry. What's the entry? 15 minute headed down, 3 minute red moon. That's simple. All right, boys and girls. All right, Boogie, you still here? Continue. Boogie. It's all you, Boogie.
Yo.
But you see the difference, Bug? It's just the value. So we know there's a jump.
And the 15, like, well, and if we were talking about would I have jumped into this trade, some of us maybe have already were in, took profits because it was going down.
Mm-hmm.
But as like a trade for all the things that we want, it's best not to go against the 15 or the 30. More importantly, the 15, because
Correct.
you know a bounce can happen. If it has a bunch of other things that say it still has more room to go, totally. But can it come off the floor of a 15? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I've been burned more times than I care to.
Yeah, and if you go back and go back,
yeah,
look at the 15, right? And look, it was on the floor for over an hour and a half. So at some point, you got to say, okay, I got to wait here. Like, that's just something you'll learn over time.
And the short has happened twice.
Yeah, we could have got paid at least 200% on this already. At least 150, maybe 300 on these last two dumps, easily. So now
actually 4.1.
It's all right.
400%.
400%. You haven't even got to the A trade yet. So the thing is that I always say this all the time. Once I see two good trades, I just wait for the reset. And that's going to be the 15 minute, which we're getting right now. So once this 15 minute resets, now I see my 4 hour bend down. This is where I'm more happy, right? Because now I'm like, all right, 4 hour, everything's ready. Now I need the 15 to show me some area of profit here, and the 15 is going to push up, the 30 is going to push up. It's going to create an area to make money, because that's what the market makers need. When they push it high enough and they get people thinking it's a reverse and everyone starts buying, then they're going to shit on everybody. That's all this is. This is the last, oh, hey, you just hit bottom, and then everyone's like, oh, and then all of a sudden it just, right? That's what they're doing. They're creating the profit space right now. So right now I'm excited because my 4 hour just turned down. Now I just need to wait for my 15 to bounce, my 30 to do what it's got to do, and then my 3 minute go red, red. Like that easy. But this is the one I like.
Whenever the 15 turns, it might not even make it all the way up.
Yeah, it might go halfway, but still, you got to never trade against the 15. So once it starts to bend up, you got to, like if you look at the 15 here, you're always going to kind of see on your other indicator. You don't need the 15 to come off the floor. All you have to do is watch your moon indicator, right? See the little line right there? That line moved before the 15. So as soon as that line bent right there, I would have got out of my short. I would have already got out because we already had profits. But as soon as that bent, that means I'm out. Now I'm going to wait for this to either reject on the 15 and then go down and give me an entry, or finish its move up and then start to go down. But this is my next entry when the 15 starts to go down. But this is the A trade. Way better trade. So I'm looking for at least 100% on there.
And if you look at the 15, when the last time it was at the very top and came down, it came back up just a little bit and then it crossed back down. But even that little cross up where it came back up was over 100%.
Oh yeah.
Or, I mean,
yeah.
So like, just as, and that was before the volume was completely where it's at now. But just to respect the 15 is, you know what I mean? There's no reason to go against it if.
No, you don't want to.
Unless you have a bunch of other things.
Yeah, we say it all the time. Don't trade against the 15. Like it's just not worth it. Like the 15 is a very dangerous trend.
With leverage.
With leverage.
With leverage, you got to respect it.
Yeah, 100%. 15 is very dangerous on what it does, and it can move 100 and 150% in the other direction really quick. But that's a bonus for you because you're looking for the drop down. So right here, I would be hunting this push up here, looking for the reversal on this because it's going to crash. Right now, they're just finishing out the last little pump on there. But yeah, as soon as that 15 bends, I would definitely take that. But like I said, the checklist, you drop down. If you don't have your 3 minute moon, 3 minute red trend, that just puts you right back to where you're like, all right, let me go figure out when it's coming. Right? So as soon as you go here, you go, oh, green moon, I can't enter. That should stop you from doing dumb shit every time.
And if you were in this trade and you saw a 3 minute and then a 3 minute moon and then a green trend, then that's your
get out.
That's the reason to get out. So there should be no reason
if
why
you
you're still in this trade.
Yeah, you missed that 15 minute. If you missed the 15 minute turnaround, you would have seen right away on that 3 minute. You'd have saw easily on the 3 minute. You got a 3 minute green moon way back on 5380 area, right? If you were watching it, 3 minute RSI hit the bottom, started to go up, and then you seen when the 3 minute RSI went to the top and then it didn't even make it all the way down and started to go north, and that was right at about 53.56. That's the end. Like that's the moment.
That's a very, very important piece of information, boys and girls. That's how you save a lot of money in your account. It's like how Boogie and BC said to get out of the trade.
There's no
Don't be greedy that it's going to turn red. No, that shit could go.
Yeah. No, and this is why I think the biggest thing is that remember when we're in B trades, and this is what the new video is going to be about. Take your stop loss should, as soon as you pass 30% and you're going for 50, your stop loss should move to 30% immediately. Right, so you should have got stopped. There was in between that time period, it went 60% twice. So you could have easily got 30% gains on here twice. Right, so the B trade is just 30% gains is your goal. Right, you should have been out of this trade. You should have made profits and been gone. And now you should be looking for this A trade now because now you have the 4 hour and everything's in your line. Now this is where you go a little more heavy. Right, and you can see here, look at your 3 minute, it's starting to push down a little here, so we're looking for a red moon here. Right, we're looking for that the new wave here. Now, I would expect the 15 minute here to reject. I have a 15 minute flash.
There's a 15 minute green moon.
Yeah.
Right now it's showing, right?
Yeah. So here's your 15 minute green moon. Right. I want to know. Yeah, that was a big bounce. So now I want to know if this holds. right? If this holds in here, right, this is letting me know like, hey man, we're gonna make some money on this A trade, right? So now we got the volume a little bit higher, but the moment that little that the moon line starts to head south, that's where I'm getting it. You see it bending already?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, as soon as it's 15 bends south, this is the trade. Let's see the 1 hour. Yeah, 1 hour still negative. Starting to go flat. And this is the transition from that B to the A. Right, so you got, this is a trade to watch here, because if you watch how this trade comes out, watch your 1 hour, watch your 15. This is where you're seeing the transition of the power of that what's happening in this trade here. Right, the 1 hour still has some room to go down here. 4 hour just bent. 15 minutes going to be our key here. Last bounce here. And this should give us a pretty big trade here.
So BC, this
Yes,
is
sir.
Gas.
What up, brother?
So basically, the B trade, that's when the 2 hours start going south, and the A trade, that's for the 4 hours. Am I right?
So the B trade is when you have the 1 hour, the 2 hour going south, right? With the 15, you know, you work the 15 and 30 in there, right? So you're gonna get some pullbacks there. The A trade is when the 4 hour is going south, but you need the volume on the 1 hour below the 5 line.
Oh, okay.
Okay, volume is king, bro.
Yeah, because I was confused when to switch from the B to the A. And we're like, oh, okay, now I get it.
Yeah, the volume. The only thing I care about is the volume, right? The volume is going to let
And
me
the
know.
A trade, the 1 hour will probably expend itself, bounce, and then come down again, and then that'll drag down the floor.
Yeah, because you're gonna see this give up pretty soon. This is gonna dump from here. Because that last big push there, that 54.73, that's a big ass push. Now you're getting this next candle. Notice how this candle, the body of it's half of it already. See that? It's starting to eat up its own pressure. So we had a 54.72, and now we're stuck at 54, 40 area, right? So this is where you start to notice the end of its push here. As soon as that 15-minute line breaks, right? You can see it bending. Look at the moon line, right? You see your green moon line? See how it's breaking right there? See how it's bending? Look at the volume, right? As soon as I see another one in 10 minutes, if it's lower than this, look at it. See how the moon disappeared? Boom. I'm taking this short right here. See that? See that moon disappear? Boom.
I'm already at like 45%.
On the short?
Yeah, I jumped in off that last giant wave.
You're a bastard.
Hey, what y'all watching?
SFP.
Alright, I'm gonna leave it to Boogie, man. He's a bastard. Alright, guys. I'm listening, man, but enjoy. Later.
Alright.
So just to recap, boys, so like we were talking about this before the 15 was kind of where it's at. So as far as the checklist is concerned, do you need to take a trade with the 15 floored? If you came across this coin just now or before this pump, it would probably be like, you know what, it's about to be a juicy short, but let's just see what this 15 does because it's on the floor, right? It doesn't really have much more to go. It would need to come back up and then start heading south again for like another entry. And if you look back at this coin, it had two huge shorts already. You know, is the A trade still building up? Absolutely. But as far as us going forward, try not to grab shorts with the 15 already down because that means it had its thing. Wait for it to come up a little bit. Makes sense?
Hey, Boogie, what are you waiting for this to reset? The 1 hour, the 30, and the 15 to get in on the next one?
Well, I mean, I would jump in now, shit, because if you look, the 4 hour is already crossed. The 2 hours heading south, it has all this stuff for an A trade. It just had a 15-minute bounce, little hoorah. Damn, I'm already up 70% now. I timed that one well. So watch now. The 15 is definitely going to start turning. And the green moon went away. I don't know if VC said that or not. It flashed. It was on, and now it's looking like a rejection, which is huge. So, I mean, I think there's still a ton of short left in this coin because of the 4 hour. 4 hour didn't even get up to the 40 line and is already crossing back down.
Do we say about 150% left in it?
I mean, it depends on, and also I don't have the new indicators. Alf had that, which I thought was super helpful, having that trend line in there. Now, if it goes back to the trend line and breaks through it, it's going to be a major short, and that's just trading 101. I mean, that works with the stock market too. If you have a major trend line and it bounces off it multiple times, the moment it makes a full candle below it is when it's a real, or it's no longer, it's a break of structure, I think is what they call it, when it's no longer part of the trend line.
Yeah, it looked like it rejected the 15-minute moon too. So that's a good sign.
It was actually a green moon. I don't know if you just jumped in, if you saw it a few minutes ago.
I just jumped in. I already opened.
Green printed on that last pump up, and that harsh reversal actually took it away, which surprisingly enough, and cool for anyone to have wanted to see that happen in real time.
You think we should be taking profits at the bottom of the 3-minute? Or are you gonna ride it out? Because it doesn't even have a red trend yet on the 3.
Yeah, I would probably yeah, so technically, and the only reason why I jumped back in is because I've been frothing, because that last pump was way too much for the volume that it had, and I knew it was going to fall just as sharp as it did. But technically, with the rules, we're supposed to get in on a 3-minute red moon and red trend. Doesn't have that red trend yet, but
it's coming. Yeah. It keeps doing.
It's definitely coming. I would probably take profits here at the bottom of the 3-minute RSI.
So trend 15, is coming.
Yeah, definitely. And also the 15 is gonna, if that turns around and starts heading back south, that was another indication to jump in. But it was kind of quiet after that last big short, back at 6:00. So, I mean, and again, and this is just me being spooky as far as like, what the hell even is this coin, and why is it pumping and dumping, on a Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, and it's not even really like an A trade yet, is it? Because the 2 hour just broke the 90. That 4 hours could still turn around and go back up, right? So
but it's weak though, because the 4 hour didn't go all the way back up.
Right.
If that starts crossing a full, I mean, it's kissing right now, but I mean, it had a huge move, and I was trying to understand when with VC, like, is there a time where the A trade took so much out of it that the B trade almost was an A trade and took so much out of it? Does that make it not an A trade anymore? Or I don't know if I said that right, but you know what I mean? Like, if a B trade just falls so hard and this was 400% move from its top. So, like, at what point does that not become the A trade because if so much was taken out of the pump?
Right. No, I see what you mean. The volume's low, which is good, but I'm just looking at like where the 2 hour crossed over. There's only been basically the one drop so far, right? Like the top of that wick was 57.69, and this is like the first drop since the 2 hour broke, right? So the 1 hour already at the bottom. So isn't this like the first leg of the B trade? That's what I'm.
Uh,
That's what I'm
well, I
seeing.
think that already happened with the 2 hour curling and the 1 hour or the 15 minute at the top heading down. I think that was the first major B trade.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. Yeah, it was further back inside the chart. Okay. 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 And now it looks like it just pumped up to a moving average on the 15, and it looks like it got rejected off there. So that was the entry. Like you said, the 54.47 would have been a nice entry, but still looks like it could come down, like you said.
Yeah, I got 54.45 my entry.
Got the 3 minute red moon too.
Yeah, boom.
Yeah, it should pull the 15 down. Um, Maybe one more cycle on the 3, going up and then coming back down. At that point, the 15 probably will start curving over. But damn, the 30s, man. See, this is
Wait,
weird.
what are you up
Don't
now?
try against the 15 and the 30, and that's what we're doing basically here. That's why it's probably not dropping as much as it would if the 15 and 30 were going down.
All right, so you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right, so what you're looking at, man, and this is a good combo right here, right? So this is the conversation that always happens, and this is the indecisiveness, right? The A trade is when the volume has to be below the 5 line, right? And the stronger side of the A trade, the second part of it, is when the volume is negative, right? So the easiest way to determine a trade on where you're at, just look at the 1 hour value, okay? Here, that first part where that trade made that big move down, that was like a B trade acting like an A trade because the volume was already below the 5 line. That's why when the 1 hour went south and then the 2 hour went south, we had that bigger dump, right? So that's also a part to where what Boogie's asking is like, man, if it already gave up so much money in the first dump, can it give up more? And the answer is it's the volume, right? Look at the 1 hour volume and go back to when it was super red. That's how much room you have, right? So there's still room here because this volume hasn't gone red yet. Now, the other part is, since we did have that big dump, look at the 1 hour. You see the 1 hour volume on the QQ is pushing up, right? That's why it's fighting right now. So this is where using the 1 hour volume, you see how it's bending up right there?
Yeah.
That's showing you the fight, right? So this is where it's waiting for the 15 minute. And we look at the 15 here. We can see the 15 pushed up, started to bend. And like I was saying earlier, as soon as that 15 rejects, that's where I want to enter, right? So that entry still puts me, even if I'm waiting here and I see that 15-minute rejection and that's what I want to look for, the next move is going to be a 3-minute moon, right? And we got a 3-minute moon and a 3-minute trend somewhere around 53.87.
Just got the trend. So.
Yeah. So right now, that's kind of like, that's our safety. Now we're going to go through a little bit of, up and downs here. Yeah, it's still a little bit of a bounce here, but that bounce is going to be kind of light because the volume is still weak on the 1 hour, right? So that's the benefit of when you get into the A side of a trade. It's really the volume is king, right? The fact that the volume is below the half line, the 5 line, and now the negative line, it's letting us know that even though it looks like it wants to bounce, it's not going to have the volume to bounce, right?
Right.
And the more, that's why, trading a lot of times, if you want to trade super safe, only do shorts when the volume on the 1 hour is below the 5. Or to get a jump on that, you need a 15, a 30, and a 1 hour red moon. That lets you know the volume is about to go below the 5. Right?
And those red moons close to each other, not
Yeah.
real square apart.
Yeah, the quicker they come together, right, the more power it's going to have, right? So here we go. We just hit that 15-minute, right? Now we have our 3-minute. The 5-minute, remember I said, trading off the 5-minute because it's a little bit lower. So we went back to our 15 minute. It got a push. It's starting to bend. Now, the only thing that's giving it strength is the 30 starting to push up. But you can see there the 30 is starting to give up too, right? So we're going flat there. So we're in the beginning of the first leg of this new A trade side, right? But we have a lot of options here because the bounce here, we still have a bounce on the 1 hour, right? So eventually this 1 hour is going to get to the bottom, right? And it's going to level out here, and it's going to kind of push up a little, and then from there it'll start to give up on that, right? And that'll be when the 15 and that'll be probably when the 30 starts to head down. But the key here is the volume, right?
We see the 3 minute here, which is going down. Is it going to bounce back up again and get into all the way to the top, or just going to stay buried because of the volume?
No, the 3 minute and the 5 will keep moving, right? They're too low not to move. So the 3 and the 5 are always going to have some type of movement, right? It's the 15 minute that could get pinned to a floor. But you're going to see here, it's going to start fighting this little channel here because it's starting to come across this moving average where it has a level of 53.70 where it'll bounce right around there. Yeah, so it bounces about there.
The 15 RSI is actually bending now.
Yeah. So this is the last of its little the fight, and you can tell this by looking at the 1 hour, right? Look at the 1 hour volume. See how the line on the moon? See how it's bending up?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what you're up against right here, right?
That's probably from that last pump, though, right? I mean, it takes a lot for the 1 hour volume line to move.
Yeah. So that's kind of where if this is a good trade to look at and study right now, so that you guys can see like, okay, this is the things that will cause slight movements here against what I'm doing. But at the end of the day, if you're still following the system, remember the A trade, 3 minute moon, 3 minute trend, you're in this trade at 53.87, right? So if you look at that and you go, okay, my stop loss on this is going to be 20 or 30, let's say we do a 30% stop loss, right? Boom. So that means our stop loss is going to be at 54 cents.
Yeah, VC, I opened up at 54.02 when the 3 minute was at the top. Like, how far down should we ride this? Like, do you take profit?
Yeah, so that's yeah, I'm glad you said that. Yeah, because I heard you say that, and that's why I came in. So what you would be doing here is, this is where you would ride this until the 15 hits the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're going to let this 15 play out. So then the 15 is starting to pull down now. You're going to let that ride out. So,
okay, and I can add to my position if the 3 minute goes back up to close to my entry, I can probably, or higher than my entry.
Yeah,
I can put in some more, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's your target area right now. So the 54 cents is kind of like our stop loss area, but it's also like a good area to be if you're higher up and you got the early entry. That's what you're looking for here. So now what you're just waiting for is for the trends to start falling in line, right? So the 5 minute green trend needs to go red. Then from there, it just starts to pull down. But the odds are all in your favor here because even though it all looks like it wants to bounce, the volume is low. That's the power of trading with the 1 hour value. Is once you notice that it's low, these are the safer trades. These are the trades you want to, get yourselves into with the bigger bags because you have a lot more safety in here and the odds are, 10 times more in your favor. And that's, I think, when I'm listening to you guys, right? That's why I like having the live chats is because then I can see where you guys are indecisive, right? You can be very confident on the 1 hour value. It's literally sitting on that on the below the negative, right? That's going to take a lot for that to go up, and you have the 4 hour just bent down, right? So that just added more pressure against it. That's what we're looking for.
A lot of time we're indecisive because we don't have the foresight that you have. And sometimes we do. Some guys here, we put money on, like big money on this, right? And then we see the smaller time frames jump, and that just makes my heart jump. But I guess after what you just said, watching everything coming down, we're feeling a lot more comfortable now.
Yeah, that's why the power, like trade with the volume on the 1 hour, right? That's really
And
what
if
we're
you
looking
got
for.
ideal B trade on this, and I was wondering if your insight on this, that if you go to the 2 hour and you see the first time it's crossing down, that would be like, oh shit, I should check into this. Then you go to the 1 hour, where's the 1 hour at? It's topped coming down. That is a 3.5% move on a B trade because the 4 hours not ready yet. The 4 hours just now getting.
Are you talking about this will trade?
Yeah. This
Okay,
trade,
look,
so
look.
that-
Go to where you would enter on the 1 and the 2 hour. Go to the 1 hour. Look at the 1 hour value.
The first time the volume hits
Yeah.
the 4,
Yeah,
from there till now is almost
Yeah.
400%.
that's what I'm saying. Like, so,
So
save your
is that
ass.
too big of a move for a B trade for it
No,
to have
no.
even more for an A trade?
No, because you still have all that other value. Don't forget that the 4 hour barely went up and it's starting to head down. So it's not going to be as big as it, some of the, it won't have as many legs. So this trade won't have 3 legs, but it should have 2 A trades.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the
That
difference.
was my question. Like, at what point does a B trade turn into an A trade? Because the 4 was coming up and it got stopped halfway and started heading back south.
That's what I wanted to show you. This B trade was an A trade value because of volume. Right. That's what made this trade more important on the B side. Because when the B trade happened with the 1 heading down, by the time the 2 hour hit, the volume was already below the 5 line and starting to go down. That is an A trade. But it just happened in the first curl. So now with the 4 hour going down, this is the second leg of the A trade. Right, because yeah,
I'm almost at 200%.
because the 4 hour, right, this is what I want you guys to remember. This will help you from the anxiety. The volume is king, okay? The A trade is when the volume is below the 5 heading down, below the 4.5 line, right? If it's below 4.5 heading down on the 1 hour, that's an A trade, okay? This A trade happened early. You didn't even need the 4 hour to hit. You already had the 1 and the 2 hour, and the volume was already an A trade. When the 4 hour hits the second time, that's the second leg of the A trade. Because now the volume is negative. See what I'm saying?
Right.
It's the volume that determines the difference between the A and the B.
And usually when you first made the video, or at least that example on that coin, the volume wasn't there till the A trade, which makes the B a B. But if you get this volume and you catch it at the right time, I mean, obviously that B trade turned into 400%.
Yeah.
Again, volume is king.
Volume is king. That's the difference. Right.
Yeah, I'm at about 45%, and I just looked at it. I'm at 20x short. I did not even go to 100.
Yeah. You make sure you get that. But here,
anytime you trade a coin new, it'll always start you at 20. So if you've never traded the coin before, always check it.
Always check it
So I
out.
would have made $300 more, but anyway, I'm happy.
Yeah. And here's where it's like, the thing about this is that by the time the 4 hour hit, right, we're going to get another leg out of this. And what I would be looking for is I would be looking for the 1 hour, right? So after I made this leg here, right, because we had the first A leg is when the B hit. The 1 hour and the 2 hour hit and gave us the first A leg trade because of the volume being below the 5. The second leg is happening now, which you guys just basically took advantage of it again. Boogie just hit it for 200%. The third leg, which is the next one that's going to come, is when the 1 hour bounces up, tries to recover, and then maybe gets to the 20 area, 20 line, and then goes back down. That will be the big dump. That'll be exhaustion. All right.
So this one, we just wait for 15 to come down, and that's when we close this one, right?
Yeah, I mean, here I would be, as soon as the 15 comes down, or profit-wise, all depending where you're at. I mean, if you're making, it's going to dump real hard right now, so I would be looking at, Let's see. And to kind of get an early jump on profits, I would probably use the 5 minute. You know what I mean? So when the 5 minute starts to bend, right? Take a look at your 5 minute. This is where I would be saying, okay, this looks like it's going to last hoorah here. So I would be setting prices around 53.20, right, for profit taking. 53.20 would be my profit area. And then as soon as this next wick hits, I would be happy there, and I'd be like, all right. Now I would let the 15 minute reset again, or at least the 5 minute. And this is where I would be waiting for the 1 hour to kind of like show some type of like get to the bottom. But whatever this next pull down is off the 15, when it reverses back up on the 15, I would be looking for the 1 hour to show some life. And then I would get the last big pull down there. But this thing is going to keep dumping here. It's starting to get to it's too heavy on it. All right, so you're going to see a big dump here. But yeah, I would run this 15. Like I said, what I'm always looking for is rejections, right? So look at your RSI. This 15 minute doesn't cross in the next, we got 2 minutes, right? Then I would be considering this area kind of like a profit area, right? I don't want to be too greedy. I want to take this profit here. And then I want to find the next move, right? I want to see what's coming up, right? To continue to see if I'm going to keep this going is I would need the 30 minute to be giving up, right? And now that I look at the 30, I can see the 30 minute on the volume. You can see the 30 starting to give up there, right? So here's where I would hold this and be like, all right, I could probably go to 53.15 here. Because it's not showing any real fight here, right? So I would be posting probably about 53. I'd be looking for that 200 moving average on the 30.
Yeah, I got out of it, man. Right when it started going back up a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, you're not gonna.
135.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's where it's like, sometimes we're always thinking about like how much more can we get, but if we hit our numbers, if we get 100 and we get all of that, it's like, okay, now let me wait for the best next winner, right? That's really what you guys have to get good at is like, okay, we found this is a bleeding ship here, right? This thing is being beat up here. What's the next big thing, right? The next big thing for me is to watch this, reset, find some type of flooring, which it looks like the 30 minutes at the bottom. The 15 minute is going to find some type of floor here. And then what I'm really looking for is, all right, let me make the next trade when the 30 minute gets to the top and starts to head back down, right? I want to see a 1 hour bounce here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see something significant here, because then the dump that comes, like, watch this throughout the night. I'm going to go back and make a video on it. But like the next time the 1 hour hits the bottom and bounces up and then starts to make a move, like here's your 1 hour. See how they just jumped to the bottom? I'd be taking profits around here. I would let the 1 hour bounce, and whenever it starts to head back down, that's the final leg of this. Remember, if you go through the videos when I'm showing you the A and B trades, I always show you where the 1 hour bounces and then there's a second A trade, okay? That hasn't happened yet. This is the first leg, okay? This 4 hour just bent down. You got a long way to go here, boys. Long way to go here. So I would be taking these profits here, 52.20, 52.23-ish. And then I would wait for this A to go back up on the 1 hour. And then when the 1 hour finishes and starts to head down, then I'd be all over this thing.
Hit my stop loss and took my profit, but it was pretty decent.
Yeah. Now make sure you fix your
PC, I got a question.
your 20x.
Hey, I got out on Next C at 142%, and it gave me that little poster with 89%. Why does that happen? That's the second time that happened.
How did you get out? Did you close it yourself, or
Yeah,
did you put a stop loss?
I did. I had a stop loss there, but then when it started going down, I just panicked and just pressed the get out quick button.
Which one?
Did you hit flash close?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. It takes a lot more from you, man. Don't do that. You gotta set like your exit.
Yeah. So
you hit close the amount that you want to close at, and then it creates like a limit order for you for it to close at.
make sure when you don't hit flash close, go to the plus sign hit the plus sign, or don't go to the plus sign. Just go to the right of the flash close and put in the price, right? So put it a little bit higher than it currently is, right? I mean, going against you, put it a little bit higher, right? So right now, let's say I'm trying to close this SPF, right? It's 52.24. I would put 52 cents 27, and then I would put my quantity at 100%, and then I would look at the price, and if it's dropping down a little like it did now, right now, I would change the 27 at the end to 24, and I would then hit close short.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because when you flash close, it's market.
I was sitting there, but I was like, oh no, it's going down. And I was like, I don't want it to get down. I know what you mean. Yeah, I screwed up. But
Or just hit your plus sign and move your stop loss up closer.
yeah, that's what I should have done.
Yeah, when you hit flash close, it closes on market. It takes all prices, and it's normally the worst.
Ooh, that's disgusting. Okay, yeah, I never want to do that again.
Yeah.
And for me on that last one, I had my take profits already lined up where I wanted to take them, and I was out 75% of my original trading bag, and then if it becomes a runner, I'll just keep, as it keeps going down, I'll just keep moving my stop loss, keep moving my stop loss, keep moving it, and then when it turns around back up, then I get caught wherever that is. But I already had my 75% out of it. That way it's not, I mean, you can try to do it with your whole bag, but then sometimes it'll go down so quick and come back up so quick, you get lost in the shuffle. Like, stay structured with your TP1 and 2, and then, you know, the last, like, take out 25% and then take out 50%, or however you want to do it. But you want to take your profits out and get good at setting your take profits, because a wick can go down real quick, hit your take profit, and it never touches that space again.
Oh yeah,
This just happens to be one of those ones that's just going to keep dumping or make up its mind when the 1 hour bounces. But, you know, leave 25% in the trade and get good at just following the trade down. And who knows, it could go to 300%. But if you closed at 150, you'd be like, ah, fuck, I should have stayed in. You know what I mean? I mean, never shoulda, coulda, woulda, because if you win's a win's a win. But get good at playing with your stop loss and being able to move it and enter take profits, stop losses quickly, so that you can, you know, you're not flustered.
So, quick question: if you were out because of TP or SL, when would be the next reset? When would you get in again? On what time frame?
So here I would definitely want the 15-minute to bounce, and then I'd be waiting for the 15 and the 30 to start heading back down. Right? Me, if I would, at that time, if the 1 hour starts to bounce while that happens, then I would go off the 1 hour.
Okay, so not good to get in now.
No.
It's the bottom.
Yeah, this is the bottom. It's got to bounce.
And that's why I said that last 25% of your bag, you want to keep it in there so that you're not fighting with yourself, trying to be like, should I get back in? You get your 75% out at your normal take profits. Leave 25% in so that you can keep playing it on its way down if it keeps going down, and that'll save you from trying to re-enter and FOMO for more. You know what I mean? Because I'm still in, even though I only have 25% left of the bag in. I'm at 240% because I just keep moving my stop loss. If you get it too close, you know, it'll get too. You know, remember, it's only 25% left of the bag, so don't get it too close, because then it can wick up. But now it's going back down again. So now I'm still in the trade, having fun watching the percentage go up, even though I took most of my money out. But I'm not sitting here being like, shit, should I have gotten back in yet? I mean, the trade happened. You won.
Yeah.
Don't chase back.
Agreed.
All right, and what that'll do is that'll.
Like, damn it, I could have got more. And then I wait till the last minute. I'm so dumb. 3 minutes floored, 15's floored, everything's floored, and I'm like jumping back in and being like, oh, what an idiot.
The reason
Then
you
I get
can't
half
do
my
that
profit.
is because you pay to trade. So the minute you place that trade, you lost 20%. So if you have $100, you just paid $20 to maybe get a trade that might work, and then it goes against you for $10, and you're like, oh, I only lost 10, but you really lost 30. So don't chase a trade. Wait for the bounce, right? And that's all you got to do. So here on the bounce, we're just going to wait for this bounce to happen, right? So we're going to wait for the 15-minute to go down, find its way back up. 30-minute looks like it wants to kind of like follow it. And if I want, that's really what I want is play this 15 minutes. So let the 15-minute finish up. And now that the 1 hour is at the bottom, I'm going to let the 1 hour bounce. So I'm going to come back to this when this 1 hour starts to head up. And then when it gives up again and starts to head down, that's my next trade. That's the big boy. All right, guys, you're in good hands. I'll be back.
Hey, Boogie, question. When the 15 minutes bounces and go up, and I know Jimmy's on there too. Hey, so I'm asking both of you guys, when the 15 minutes goes up, do you guys write it up as a long?
Carlos is gangster at that. I don't know. I mean, I used to try to play that. I'll play with those on an FOMC Wednesday when they go up like 200 or 300% on each wave. But and that when you do that, you're getting slightly into another discipline or type of trader where then you need to go play with the 1 minute. And Carlos will do that with like if the 1 minute red trend is going down for a long time, as soon as it goes green, he'll ride the 1 minute green trend as his reversal long. But again, once you start doing that, then you're throwing out everything the academy is trying to
No,
keep
I would
you.
just, if anyone's listening, this is not what I'm asking for, but I just wanted to know because, in theory, when it goes up, you do make percentage, in theory, right? When
Oh, wow.
1 minute or 3 minute or 15 minutes. So if you have a decent sized bag, I mean, what you just said about Carlos, I did that with 1 minute. 1 minute can give you up to 28 to 30% sometimes when it goes up and down, regardless of rest of the time frame. I'm just discussing with Boogie, so please no one follow this, right? This is very dangerous. But if you're playing with, for example, if you're playing with $1,000, you get about $280 for it to go up 28%, 1 minute.
And you
one
should,
minute-
if you're gonna do that, be 30% is the win. You know what I mean? Don't just keep riding it up forever
No.
because by the time it turns around, then you're at 10%, or it continues the short, which the whole reason why you were looking at the coin to begin with was for shorting. So, and again, if you want to try to catch little bounces while you're waiting for other things, if your $100 is your main trading, then just trade 10 for that bounce and make a couple bucks.
Got
You
it.
know what I mean?
It goes really
But,
fast. It can go wrong also. It can go the other way really fast. So
It does. I usually play that game too. Sometimes it only works about 50% of the time, trying to catch a bounce back. It's
Yeah.
nice.
Because you don't have all the things in your favor like you normally would, right?
Yeah.
You're literally just playing the bounce, and it doesn't have any of the higher time frames. It doesn't have the 30. If you're just riding the 15 on its way back up, again, it's just it's another technique. Yes, you can win on it, but once you throw out all the other check marks of the list, then you're gambling again.
No, you got it. That's what you mentioned a couple days ago to me about a coin flip, and I don't do that. But I'm just wondering that if that really works. Second question: I know VC was saying that I was too busy counting my money. When this thing goes back up, 15-minute goes back up, is that the only indicator for this now because the volume is so low and everything goes our way, or is there something else VC was saying that we should wait for 1 hour as well to go all the way up before we jump on?
No. It's 1 hour with the 2 curling, 3 hour curling, 4 hour curling. The 1 hour won't go all the way back up to the top.
Okay,
Everything
so-
else, it'll be weak. So what he says is wherever the 1 hour gets to the bottom and starts heading up to the top, wherever it turns back around to go down, that's another short.
Okay, so not just 15. You got to watch the 1 hour as well.
Yeah, well, because the 1 hour is the only reason why we're in this trade right now. Like, look where it started heading down. The 1 and the 2 hour happened at the same time. The 2 hour was curling. That's one of our major check marks to even get in this trade. Excuse me. And then you rode that 1 hour all the way down. 15 is, for entry as well. And the 3 minute is your exact entry.
But as far as another move down, the 1 hour will probably do some sort of bounce.
Got it.
But again, sometimes when you make a banger of a trade on one of these, you won. You know what I mean? Like if you
Yep.
try to get it, like bleed it for everything it's worth, you end up getting caught on that last one because it didn't have quite all the check marks that the first trade had. You made money, you're pumped about it, and you're like, you get a little bit of that bulletproof feeling, whereas you know what I mean? Like, oh, I could get this again and again and again, and then that last time takes away the profits of your last one. So if you traded this thing 3 times, won big on the first one, won on the second one, lost the third. So basically, you lost your second and third because the profits from the third or the loss took away from your second. So you only won 1 of 3, basically, right?
I think that's the biggest, what you just said, you hit the nail on the head. That's the biggest mistake that probably new guys like me, we make, is when we make like good profit. And we like, for me, I only jumped on this just recently now. Now when you guys already made 200-300%, right? So I jumped on it and I made good money, and then I'm like, okay, stop loss hit, so I should get back in. It's still going down. That's a fuck up. I should not do that. I should just walk away till it's complete reset.
No,
And that's what happened with.
The only fuck up you did was you didn't finesse your stop loss better. You could have finessed it better. So take that, write it on a sticky note, say be better with my stop loss so I can stay in the trade longer, and then remember that for next trade. But if you messed up something and won, but you could have won more, don't get in on it because you guarantee you're gonna lose that next version of the trade because you're just hoping to win more. And then again, the key word there was hoping to win more because a lot of the things are already spent.
Very true.
And so I'm still in the trade with my stop loss. It's actually coming up on me now. And so at one point I was at 240%, and my stop loss is at 175%, and it's getting close to that stop loss. Could I have made a little bit more if my stop loss was closer? Probably, but it also wicked up a couple times. So when you're playing with the stop loss and you keep moving it, you don't want to get it too close because it could have a little bounce and then keep going, and that little bounce can kick you out, and then I would be like, shit, it's still going to keep going. I want to get back in on this. So just know it'll dip farther than you're going to take profit for, but you stay in it longer in case it goes really far down.
I guess the best discipline would be is to have a number in mind that I want to make $100 or $10 or 200, whatever number that you have in mind, and the percentage, like 30% or 50%, and just walk away from that, like not chase the candle again. If you could do that, I think you would win every
So you gotta take it.
Yeah.
If it goes more, just pat yourself on the back because you found a trade and you won. If you win 30% every single time or 50% every single time on trades that go 100 plus, that just means you're disciplined. If you want to get better at staying in it longer and finessing it and working the trade over, that comes with time, practice, and and the mental game of it, because this whole shit is mental and they know it. The market makers know it. That's why people lose daily.
Sure. Well, this guys being this together, all of us in here, was so useful because this was a typical trade that I face. Paul and I was just chatting about this earlier. Every day, decisions like 4 is not all the way up. The system says that 4 should be, topped and curled down. But we took this trade because of the volume, the way VC explained. But there were so many indicators in there, which was, which I learned today, listening to you guys and listening to VC and everything. So I really appreciate it. This was very nice to understand, and we can always use this in our favor in next trades and just make 50% each and every time without losing any money.
Yeah, I think he did this live trade was just, or I don't even think he was anticipating this trade.
as part of it, but it was supposed to just be for some new guys onboarding them. I just hopped in just to listen in, and then it turned into this, which was great. And you know, the and learned something as well. I got for a couple of months. I was just so obsessed with, or not obsessed, but just I got stuck on RSI alone, and never really respected the volume as much as I should have. And since we're playing with shorts, it means a lot. But when you get into longs, when we hit the bull market, you'll hear people all the time like, oh, what about this long? What about that long? Like, no, the volume's not there. Like, you cannot get it means so much more in a long than it does a short when the volume is the only way it goes up. You know, when volume depletes from a short, it can just keep falling, but it's even more so in a long.
No, this is a perfect example, and he just found it by chance on CoinMarketCap. We were all in there, and he was just looking at different coins with the certain I forgot what the number he was looking for. He was looking for, I guess, what kind of numbers it's moved in a day or something, and he found this one. We never heard of it before, and then we jumped on it. But for all the new guys in here, it can get overwhelming at times because there's so many things to learn. But the basic of this trade is the volume. Everything happened, RSI and everything will change its course or shape or whatever. You're right, before Boogie, I was also like in first when I joined. I was just looking at RSI. When I see the heads up, I will jump in. And after I jump in and put money on it, the head would turn the other way. And I'd be like, what the, all three of them was facing up. Why is it not going up anymore? And I'd be losing money. But there are other factors, and volume is the biggest. So since last 3-4 days, it's been, just for myself, I'll tell you, it's zero losses. Zero losses. I take even 30%, I don't care. I take 12% if I think it's good, because 12% out of $100 is still $12, right? It's not a loss. So anything which is positive, I take it, and I'm following the volume thing, and it's been very, very successful with that. So I would say this to all the new guys that are coming in, to pay attention to the volume, especially when you're doing shorts. And that's all I do. I only do long if the short is really, really, completed and it's going to head up. And then I just jump on the long for a little bit, but that's it. I don't do long by itself because I'm not confident.
Yeah, well, you've been killing this, man. I've been seeing you out there, man. Every day you're posting like 500 percenters, man. It's good, bro.
Yeah, no, it's really been it's been
Yeah.
good.
That's good, man.
Yeah, so last for anyone listening and taking notes, like when you get to 20-30% and it starts it's still going, get your stop loss into the positive. So no matter what, it's not a loss. It's crucial because a trade can turn around while you're still trying to figure out what's the best trade. But if it goes up 30-40% and your take profit is at 50, but you moved your stop loss into the positive, and then the trade goes south on you, then it's basically break even. You know what I mean? Like it's not a loss. You're not losing half the trade, or wherever you decide to keep your stop losses at. But
yeah, and if you can
get your stop loss into the positive, the better.
Yeah, and if you can, don't keep it at zero. If you see a lot of room there, move it at least 10 or 15, because if you keep it at zero, and it spikes back, it will go in negative. No, even itself, it will go in negative. You will see when it finally goes back, it will hit the stop loss, but because of the computer lag or inner lag or whatever it is, you may see sometimes lag, it will show you -6 or -10. So if you could just move it up a little bit more, like 10% or 15%, then you're at least safe. When like Boogie said, when it's gone up to 25, 30, 40%, yeah, you can move it up 10% or 15%.
Yeah, and that way you'll cover the cost of the trade.
Yeah, the fee.
Sometimes, and it might not seem like that much when you're trading $10, but I've traded, this last trade I got, I was at, it was an $800 trade, and like as soon as I got it into the positive, like my heart stopped beating. You know what I mean? Like when you start getting high numbers, you'll feel way better when your stop loss is in the positive, and get good at that now, moving it without question, and
being able to cancel a stop loss and quickly typing in a new one quickly, and being able to navigate changing take profits, having be able to quickly type them in and be, your
I've got
risk
a,
manager.
I've got a question, and I want, and if you both of you could jump in and chime into this. But again, this is when I'm asking these questions. These are a little bit more. I've been here now more than a month. A little bit more advanced than average beginner. So please don't follow this. Boogie and Jimmy, when you guys play with bags, like big bags, for example, let's say Boogie's was talking about 800, 1,000. If you got a stop loss at 20% and it hits like 2 times, you're out of $400. So what I do personally, what I've been doing, is when I see that everything is in my favor, and when I say everything, what Boogie was talking about checklist, everything 10 out of 10, right? I don't set a stop loss at first because it does fight a little bit. Or what I do recently, what I've been doing is I start my position with $10. Even though I'm going to play with 1,000, I start with $10. I let it fight because when I got about 500 or 1,000, it hurts my heart so bad I can't take it anymore. But when it's fighting, going up and down, sometimes 15%, sometimes 25%. So I start out with $10 and let it fight. When it calms down and see things are going my way, that's when I open up bigger positions. That's one. And then I set my stop loss afterwards. Comments? What do you think about my strategy?
Yeah, that's how BC does it. He won't set a stop loss still, because he's still buying in. He still hasn't found his actual position as to where he's going to be at yet. So and I used to only, like, this is where I was going to make the trade. I put the whole amount in. And the amount that I said earlier, that was on one trade. Like, I still trade $50 trades. It depends on my conviction of the trade, where it's at, how well I think it's going to do, on how big I go. Sometimes my bigger bags are because I'm cost average buying in so much, but that was just my own fault and I didn't get the best entry. So, I don't have a set amount like I should. And I've gotten in trouble because I've bought in way more into a trade than I should have because it wasn't the right entry and I was forcing it. But, and that's just my own issue. If I see a short, then there's no way it can go long. Whereas Carlos, he'll be like, no, it's a long. I have trouble flipping, like,
But the problem is he posted on there, and there's a lot of beginners that jump on it right away. Carlos knows how to salvage it, but a lot of people can't. They don't know how to reverse it. Some guy, I think, was asking me a couple days ago, can you show me how to reverse it? And I don't want to comment because you really need to know a lot more than just knowing how to press the reverse button. Because you could do that, and then it'll go back the other way. Then it'll go back the other way.
Yeah. And then you reverse it twice, and now you have to go 200% before you even break even.
Yes.
That's why I don't really like to talk about reversing. That's like a personal thing that you should do.
You can always lower your leverage too, If you
that's what I was going to say.
A lot of money.
Exactly.
You want to stretch as much as you can, really, for it not to go in the wrong direction. 100x is a lot of leverage, man. You gotta be really.
You can get out of 100x so fast. I think maybe the beginners should go 50x.
Yeah, 20 or 50 if you're learning.
And then try to hit 30% as your win. Because 30% at 50x is 60% at 100x. So, if you're doing 50x and only trying to get 25 TP1 and 50% TP2, and like you nail that, then you can start upping your leverage. But VC's been on high leverage for years and years and years and years. So if he loses a trade, he can immediately win it right back on the same session. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah, I asked him that because I seen him do it. I seen him do a trade where he just goes with his full, like whatever the money's in his account, he goes all the way 100%. I don't go more than 20 because I'm worried about volatility. And he told me I don't worry about volatility because when I get in, everything is dead. There's no jumping in there, so I'm not worried about that. So he gets really into the prime, where my mistake is, yes, I do the checklist, and sometimes I'm worried that I'm losing profits, and I jump in on early, and then it will go 20, 30%, maybe 40, 50% the other way. And I have to put not out of margins, but like put money there to save that. That's why I only go 20% of my bag so I can use the rest to save it. But that's not a good strategy. It has gone out of my hands a couple of times, and it's gone really the wrong way. But
those are problems that I still face. Um, you just gotta just be, and like some of the check marks will be in my favor, and I'm like, oh, this is looking good, and then I'll get in, and it starts to go the other way. When in reality, all I had to do was just wait, and then I could have had that 30% or 40% that it went the other way
in your favor
in
now.
my entry, which means instead of taking 50, I could have taken 90 to 100 on the same move if I just waited a few minutes. Like, you should never have to rush into a trade. If it's going, it's going. Find another one. But don't rush into one just as if there's never going to be another trade to take.
I really wish I could practice what you just said. It's I listen to
What
it.
I
I
just said
tell
is the whole
everyone.
reason why these guys are making billions and we're making thousands or hundreds, because they know human nature is that it's gambling. It's a fucking casino. I mean, we're just trying to find a way to beat the system. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's what this is. Stock market, it's all.
It's something really nice to me a couple of days ago. I was talking to him and he said to me, he goes, if you got a full bag, let's say 1,000 grand, you're so scared because of everything you're getting in early, only playing with 100 or 200. With my system and the way I get it with the whole 1,000, and even if I make 30%, I make 300. And you're getting in with you're scared, you're getting with 100, 150, and then after, it goes up and down. So he's really right. So that's why I really need to work on my entry when everything is there. Forget about if I'm going to lose 5 or 10%. It doesn't really matter. Not lose, but, not gain that in a way. I'm not really losing it if I'm not getting it early.
But I just gained it. It would have added to your overall percentage win if you just were greedy on the entry, not greedy trying to win.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'm gonna run. I gotta go feed the little ones.
Okay. Boogie, thanks a lot. Appreciate all your input.
Absolutely. This was a good sesh. Unexpected. But we made some.
Yeah, catch you later.
All right, guys. Appreciate it.
Hey, Jimmy, you still on? Jimmy, you there?